Our visa system, okay, who you allow to visit your country should reflect the national interest. We said that from the very beginning. It was one of the directives that we got from the president. It's one of the things he ran on. And so our visa process basically is, and there are some times we'll deny people visas because of activities they've undertaken overseas. Other times it's people that have visas but are in the United States doing things that run counter to our national interest. And the law gives us the right, and in fact, I would argue the obligation to remove people like that from our country. And we're going to continue to do it. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, sometimes somebody comes in and says, well, I want to come in as a student. They're here as a student, and then once they're here, they're involved in nefarious activity. We're going to remove them from the country. But maybe they're here as a researcher. Maybe they're here as, I don't want to say journalist because you guys will get upset, but you know, it could be anything. You know, these are visitors to the country. A visa is a visitor. It's not a right. By the way, we deny visas every day all over the world. People will go to an embassy, they'll sit for an interview, and the consular officer will deny them a visa because of something that came up in their record, because of something that came up in their interview, whatever it may be. So if you have the power to deny someone a visa before they get one, you most certainly have the power to revoke it once they get one and then do something they shouldn't be doing. So there's a variety of reasons why visas are denied, but all of them are because it implicates our national interest or national security in some way.
That's right. Well, if you guys heard
Our visa
that they're now going to put a $15,000 bond on getting a visa to come to the U.S. from a bunch of countries. Mother Papillon says, Jim, was your today better than your yesterday? No, every day seems to be getting somewhat worse. Things are not getting better. That's about all I'll say. Let's see who's here. Jay Schwartz is here. What's up? Good to see you. Hope you're having a wonderful evening. I'm here with you guys, so that makes it wonderful. Thank you. Pat Hacker, great to see you. Nice. I was a couple minutes late. Sorry. Let's see. Woodtick Mike's here. Good to see you. K Bean is here. Awesome. Where are you? Cynic polluted Joe's stream. Well, I'm sorry to hear. Old English sheepdog names Dickens. Yes. Let's see who's else. Ank, what's up? Good to see you. Gundam Zig is here too. Awesome. Mother Pepiones, I said hi. Lynn P, what's up? I'm here to help if I'm able. Well, just do this and talk to people, and then hopefully things will get better someday, some way, somehow. Anyway, we got some news and stuff to talk about today. I'm going to get through it. Show's going to be about 2 hours long. You too, Jim. And then, unless, of course, we have a goal like we do every night. If we hit $100 in total donations across all platforms, YouTube Super Chats, Rumble Rants, PayPal, Cash App, which is pinned in the chat, and there's QR codes will appear on the screen, randomly and stuff. Also, there's this thing called Ko-fi, Kofi, that you can make donations through. There's another thing called Super Tips. There's also Kick and Twitch and Locals coins and all that stuff, and memberships, gifted memberships and all that. So we added it all up and we hit 100 in total. We added an extra hour to the show. And then for every extra $100, we had an extra hour to the show. And as added bonus, when we hit 50, we activate Bella Vision for the evening. There's Bella sleeping with her little doggy there. But if someone is so generous enough to donate an individual donation of $25 or greater, that could be like a $25 Cash App or PayPal or Rumble Rant or Super Chat or whatever, or it could even be like, 5 gifted memberships on Rumble or YouTube, then we would automatically activate Bella Vision for the evening. Have I seen Barbie World lately? I have not seen Barbie World in a while, so I hope she's okay. So first, we're going to jump into the first story of today, which is not really, well, it's kind of been news. A bunch of people have been talking about it. So we'll jump into this one real quick here, and then thank you all. Please remember to hit the like button and everything. So Afroman wins his verdict, rejecting a lawsuit filed by the Ohio cops over mocking music videos. So I don't know if you guys know who Afroman is. He's a rapper. He did a song many, many years ago called "Because I Got High." He's like, I never was on the store because I got high, because I got high. And then other stuff. And so these guys raided his house over they somehow said he was involved in some kind of kidnapping or something, which was, I guess, totally not true or anything. And they went in his house, they stole his money, they broke all his cameras and ripped his system out, but he's got cameras, and then, I don't know. So, so cops are such delicate snowflakes, yeah. So cops sued him, saying that he hurt their feelings by making songs, making fun of them, and talking shit about him. And the Ohio jury rejected all their claims, and basically he won on everything. So I hope he gets his money back. I hope he gets his money back. So here it is. So right here. So Afroman found not liable in bizarre defamation case brought by Ohio cops who raided his home. And then he got high. Yes. Howdy, y'all. Critters are great to see you. Please remember to hit the like button. Yes, that's right. And they stole his lemon pound cake. That's right, Nanny Goat. They stole his lemon pound cake. Jason Fisher's here, too. I hope you're going well. There's next steps with the situation around. We secured the island, the Strait of Hormuz. They got to get the Strait of Hormuz things straightened out. You got to get that secure. You got to keep them. There are some reports today we'll get into about, basically we hit all the launcher sites that they have for launching the rockets with bunker busters. So I guess they figured out where they were launching from, and so let's hope it clears up and it doesn't have a problem. And Doc says, oh, he grifted the S out of him. Getting his legal fees back would be icing on the pound cake. And what do you know? I just happened to look at my phone for a second. Yep, and Miss K Bean right here donated $25 on PayPal. Thank you so much, K Bean. Extremely generous. Thank you so much. So with that, we activate Bella Vision for the evening. We put her in the top spot because she is, way more important than me up there. Yes. Let me fix the camera a little bit. No, wrong camera, Jim. You're moving the wrong camera, Jim. I need to move Bella's camera. There we go. We'll zoom in a little on Bella. There we go. Zoom in a little more. Oh, there we go. Nice zoomed in picture of Bella. Let's just hope she doesn't move for a little while. All right. Thank you so much, K Bean. It's so generous of you. And let me fix the banner. That means that with that generous $25 donation on PayPal, that means we are now just $75 away from adding a first extra hour to the show. Yeah, you'd think cops would be desensitized. Ridiculous. It is. It's crazy. I love when citizens honor the First Amendment. Yes, it's great. It's great that the jury knew about it. So clearly the jury in that area knew what was up, and they were like, yeah, we're not buying it. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Bella time. Yes, thank you so much. So the verdict was the icing on the pound cake. Yes, it was. The verdict was the icing on the pound cake. I'm just glad there's a way to avoid YouTube fees. Oh, yeah. I have multiple ways to avoid YouTube fees and Apple fees and all that. You have Cash App, PayPal, the Ko-Fi thing. You have Super Tips. Super Tips is a little, I think it's like 10% they take or whatever, 8 to 10%. The same thing with like, I believe, I think Ko-Fi might be the same thing. Yeah. But I don't know. But PayPal and Cash App are the most direct way to the least amount of fees. Really. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So Afroman did not defame the cops in a satirical music video that featured footage of them fruitlessly raiding the rapper's house, a jury found on Wednesday. That's the thing. They tried to claim that because he used his own video, surveillance video that he had of them in his house, that somehow he was unlawfully using their likeness. Like they came in his house. He had the surveillance video. How could you think that's a violation of their privacy rights when they're in your house? They have no expectation of privacy. It's long been established by the Supreme Court. You can film the cops. They have no expectation of privacy when they're out doing their job. They just don't. The 51-year-old Because I Got High rapper, whose real name is Joseph Foreman, held up his hands in triumph and hugged people in the courtroom after he was found not liable for defamation or invasion of privacy, false light publication. Yes, it is crazy. It is crazy. Foreman was sued by the Adams County Sheriff's Office over a drug search at his home in August 2022 that resulted in no criminal charges. So he was sued by the Sheriff's Office over a search that they did where they found no evidence of any crime. Didn't turn up anything. A fruitless search. It's like backwards. He should be suing them. And look at this guy. Look at this Make America Great shirt. He's an American flag and everything. He was found not liable. The hip-hop star wrote the satirical song Lemon Pound Cake and made a music video with real footage of the raid taken from his home surveillance cameras to raise money for property damage caused during the search. It's nice try, piggies. Oink, oink. 7 cops with the Sheriff's Office then sued him in March 2023, alleging the music video defamed them, invaded their constitutional privacy, and was an intentional infliction of emotional distress. Well, what about the infliction of emotional distress on him and his family over the raid on their house? Didn't they break down his gate, do all types of stuff, break down doors, and do everything? The video features footage of cops busting down his door and one of the officers eyeing his mama's lemon pound cake with his gun drawn. After making the video, Foreman allegedly continued putting up social media posts with names of the officers involved, the lawsuit states. Several of the posts allegedly falsely claimed the cops stole my money and were criminals disguised as law enforcement, according to the suit. I mean, why don't they go sue Antifa for calling them, for saying ACAB, ACAB, ACAB? They chant it all the time. So why don't they sue them and say, hey, I wasn't born out of wedlock. You're defaming me. Why didn't they do that? Because it would have been laughed out of court like this case it should have been. This judge did everything in his power, in my opinion, to try to make this case and try to steer the jury to help out his friends at the sheriff's office. They also falsely stated that the officers are white supremacists. Oh, said Officer Brian Newman, used to do hard drugs before snitching on his friends, and that Officer Lisa Phillips is a biologically male, according to the lawsuit. Yes. Yeah, they broke down his door and he asked them to fix it. They wouldn't, so he made the video song. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. He's like, well, you pay for the damages. I can understand you make a mistake. I think he was really, actually at the time, he was like, and then I think they gave him back his money and they were $400 short. It was a very obese sheriff who was eyeing the pound cake. I guess Boss Hogg didn't like it and called out. No. Yeah, the judge wasn't happy with the verdict. No, he wasn't. The judge was not happy. The judge tried, in the beginning of the trial, the judge tried to, the lawyer started making comments about, well, there's these anti-SLAPP laws and these things. This video they're talking about right now was just made a week ago, so the anti-SLAPP law would apply to that. If they want to bring it in, we should be able to get, just you're not going to talk about that in my courtroom. Oh, okay. Kind of reminds me of when that New York judge told, I can't think of his name now, and I can picture him, the guy in New York who's had the 3D printed guns, whatever, that the judge said, don't talk about the Second Amendment in my courtroom. It doesn't exist here. That was actually said in a courtroom in the United States of America. The Second Amendment doesn't exist here. That judge should be immediately run out of office because the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, is the immediate, overwhelming, overarching supreme law of the land. No, not Mangione, not Luigi Mangione. I'm talking about, it was a black man. Lester, no. I can't think of his name. He got in New York. He got sentenced to 10 years for having, ghost guns, basically. Gun kit that he bought, something like that. We see public officials all the time are made fun of, lawyer David Osborne said in closing statements. They're going to be held to higher standards. Their work is going to be criticized. That's just what happens when you're a public official. Oh, Ank says, well, the cats and I are going to bed. People have a great night. Thanks, Jim. Well, thank you for being here, Ank. It's always great when you're here. I always know it's going to be a good night when Ank's here. It's a social commentary on the fact they didn't do things correctly, he said of the officers. An attorney for the police, meanwhile, demanded a total of $3.9 million in damages divided among the 7 officers involved. Yeah. Foreman's lawyer argued the song, which is described as a combination of comedy and music, was simply free speech. I mean, look at this. This is just crazy. Dexter Taylor, that's his name. Dexter Taylor, you're right. Dexter Taylor, that is him. He's the guy. He got railroaded, man. The fact that he's not been saved by the Justice Department, I don't know. That's something the Justice Department should be in there going, no, you got it. This guy, you're violating the Constitution. What you're doing to this guy. Foreman perpetuated lies intentionally repeated over 3.5 years on the internet about these 7 brave deputy sheriffs. Not too brave. They're afraid of words. Words hurt their feelings. Lawyer Robert Klingler said in closing remarks. He knew that what he posted on the internet were lies. Is it a crime to post lies on the internet? I mean, if that's the case, there would be I don't know, probably 3 billion people in jail because that's all people do on the internet is lie. I mean, hasn't he got the memo? He says he's not going to stop. Tell him through your verdict that he needs to stop. Oh, he not going to stop. Ain't going to stop. Never going to stop. Not stopping now. Ain't you stopping us now? He's on a roll. All of this is their fault, Foreman testified in court on Tuesday. If they hadn't wrongly raided my house, there would be no lawsuit. I would not know their names. They wouldn't be on my home surveillance system. There would be no songs. My money would still be intact. Only cops can lie. Come on, people. That it? That's it? That's it? That's the story? Oh, man, I was hoping there would be more. Let me see if there's anything else, if there's another story on it since the time of the postings. So there's only 9 articles. How is there only 9 articles about this? Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. Let's see what Billboard has to say about it, just because why not? Hey, happy hump day, everybody. Why did they raid his house to begin with? Well, because there was an informant. They had an informant, somebody who was, a criminal who was snitching on people, and they needed something, so he made up this whole story about Afroman had people kidnapped in his basement, locked up in his basement. You see. Yeah. That's what the informant told them. So they went there they thought he was keeping people prisoner in his house. That's what this informant told them. I wonder if that informant still could be considered what's called a fruitful informant, where they can take their word. At some point, someone should go, and anything that informant says should no longer be valid to be used to get a search warrant. Because generally they have to testify to how this informant's been fruitful in the past and gave us information that we proved to be true and blah, 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 blah. After this, I don't think that informant, they can say that. Hamburger Helper says, I would just like to say, if you don't like Mongolian beef, you have no taste buds and racist. I love Mongolian beef. I love Mongolian beef. I always get mine a little bit extra spicy, though, because I like it spicy, but I like it to be like, to where it's like it's like, ooh, that's how I like it. Yeah, he and his attorney are such characters. Yeah, it was a good trial. Police officers rated that because I got high rapper's Ohio home, then sued him after he ridiculed them on social media, but a jury sided with Afroman. Oh, there he is with Tommy Chong. Tommy Chong and Afroman attend the 2019 Daytime Beauty Awards at the Italian Complex in Los Angeles. Afroman won a jury verdict on Wednesday, clearing him of wrongdoing in a lawsuit filed by 7 Ohio police officers. They claimed the rapper defamed them by releasing music videos mocking them. Yes, because I got high. Shitty wall. I like to go to Shitty Walk. I go to Shitty Walk for shitty beef. The verdict came in an unusual lawsuit filed by members of the Ohio County Sheriff's Department over songs and social media posts, which yielded no charges. He criticized their guns-drawn raid on his property, which yielded no charges. The case claimed the videos were false and caused officers distress, but Afroman, known for his 2000 hit Because I Got High, testified that he had a First Amendment right to mock the officers, particularly after they smashed down his door for ultimately no reason. All this was their fault, and they have the audacity to sue me. That's right. And they bitch about ICE in Ohio. Yeah. After just hours of deliberations on Wednesday, the jury sided entirely with the Afroman, clearing him of liability for defamation or invasion of privacy. In all circumstances, the jury finds in favor of the defendant. Judge Jonathan Heine says, speaking to the rapper, the accusers, and their lawyers. Afroman briefly bowed his head, but otherwise showed no emotion after the verdict was read. The verdict ended a 3-day jury trial that captivated social media with outlandish moments from the courtroom, including Afroman mounting a colorful defense from the witness stand in a flamboyant American flag suit, one of the deputies crying repeatedly as a video insulting her played for more than 10 minutes. Hamburger Helper says, for sure, Mongolian beef is traditionally savory, but it tastes better made spicy, in my opinion. Yeah. Mouth burn spicy. Yeah, that's what I mean. I want it to burn my mouth a little. Like, I want it to burn my mouth just a little bit. Not so hot that it's like, I can't eat it, but, hot enough to just give you a little. Nothing more pathetic than butthurt cops. You ain't kidding. They probably have to pay his legal fees now as well. I think that's how it works. I might be up to the judge, and maybe the judge will say no. Maybe he'll have to appeal it. I don't know. They tried to blame him for people sending stuff to their house, like one of the cops was getting sent lemon pound cake to his house and stuff like that, and like how somehow that's Afroman's fault. Like I don't get it. Like I don't see how it could be his fault. I really don't. Really don't see it. Just don't see it. So, 1 second, I forgot to do one thing. Let me, Sorry, I forgot to message Joe about a raid when he's done. I don't know how long they're going tonight or anything, so I just wanted to do that so that way maybe some more people will show up. It says, my husband is spicy adverse. His philosophy is that food should not be painful. Okay, I agree that it shouldn't be painful on the way out. If it's painful on the way out, you went a little too spicy, in my opinion. But a little burn in the mouth is actually really good for you. They say, like a lot of people say, that the spices and stuff in like certain foods like curry and stuff like that are very healthy for you. They actually kill bacteria and germs and regulate your gut and stuff like that. So that's all I would say, like a little spice is good. A little spice, they call it the spice of life, It's a little good. Spuds, great to see you. Thank you. Also, they sued him. Yes, Trumpinator. They sued him. The cops sued him after they raided his house on bogus information from a informant, a criminal who was making shit up about people to try to get out of their trouble, and they sued him. Yeah, spices were preservation before refrigeration. Yes, they were. Yeah. But come on, man. I mean, think about it. Like, how could you eat some tacos, or you could eat, like something like, I mean, anything like even corn, especially it was just St. Patty's Day. Corned beef was originally designed to hide the fact that the beef was starting to rot. So they would corn it in brine and everything, pickling spice, to hide the fact that it was rotting. And so that way they can sell it longer after it started to go bad. But now it's just fresh beef and it just tastes really good. It is. Corned beef is delicious. I love corned beef. Kevin says, I am a piglet, was married to a cop 7 years deputy. Those cops are screwed. Yeah, they're never going to live this down. They're never going to live this down. In fact, they should have just let it go, but they're never going to live it down. They're the cops that went crying to a court to try to sue a guy over getting made fun of on the internet. I mean, it's not like pastrami on rye. Thanks. Now I'm hungry. Ugh. Pastrami's really good too. Yeah. Pastrami is really, really, really good. The difference is pastrami is peppered and corned beef. They're both the same beef, cut of beef. It's just one's peppered and one's, pickled. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they played 10 minutes of it and she started crying on the stands. And a testy exchange in which Afroman's lawyer asked another deputy if his wife was cheating on him. The outcome is a major win for Afroman, who could have faced a whopping $3.9 million in damages. See, I don't even understand. What's it says? Sent you a DM on some info and a story about an illegal trying to outwit ICE in central New York. Okay, well, I'll look at that. What's up, Neurodivergent One? Great to see you. Now I'm thinking I want. Anyway, yeah. I don't say because wouldn't they have to prove damages? Like you'd have to prove damages, I think, for something like this. You can't just say I want money. I don't know. But then again, look at what happened to Alex Jones. There was no way, shape, or form that they came up with the $1 billion verdict against Alex Jones because there was no such thing as damages. But yes, yeah. Salt for the salt gods. Piggy tears. Attorneys for both sides did not immediately return requests for comments on Wednesday. In August 2022, the Adams County Sheriff's Department raided Afroman's home with guns drawn, smashing down his door and seizing $5,000 in cash and other property. They had a search warrant on suspicions of drug trafficking and kidnapping. You thought pastrami was just smoked corned beef? I don't think it's just smoked corned beef. I mean, I know it's smoked and it's peppered, but I don't think it's corned first. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is corned beef that's then smoked and peppered. But I thought it was just, it's kosher corned beef. Okay. I thought maybe it is corned beef that's then smoked but I thought it was just a beef brisket, basically. I thought it was just like, that's because that's all corned beef is. It's a beef brisket, that's, corned and then, cooked. But, I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. Now I'm getting hungry. Lol. Food, glorious food, Oliver tells you. Well, thank you, low watermark. Thank you so much for that 10. Good to see you. Jim looks us up. It's Afroman, Batterum him of the police whistleblower. Okay. Thank you so much. And with that means we are now $65 away from adding an extra hour to the show. I do like pastrami. I don't know. I thought it was just pastrami is highly seasoned and roasted. Yeah, it's corned beef. Corned beef is cured brisket. Yeah, I know that. I know corned beef is cured brisket, but I thought pastrami was, maybe it is corned and then smoked. I know it's smoked and peppered. I always use the peppercorns that come in the corned beef, but the cabbage and potatoes are the best part. Oh yeah, definitely. I always add extra pickling spice in there because I like mine extra corny. After the search, Afroman used his own surveillance camera footage. He doesn't say here, though, but yeah, no wrongdoing was uncovered and no charges were ever filed. Like, why? Who told him? An informant gave him bad information trying to get out of some shit. He said, this guy's a kidnapping guy over there. Like, I'm pretty sure that some guy got caught, if I remember correctly. Some guy got caught with, like, a pound or 2 pounds of weed or something like that, and then claimed that he got it from Afroman. Is pastrami better than corned beef? Yes. Well, I mean, I don't know. It depends, man. It depends. Like when years ago, I used to be able to get like you go to a place called Sinai Kosher in Chicago. It was on like 47th and off of Damon, and you could get, or 39th, I'm sorry, off of Damon, and you could get corned beef sandwiches, and the sandwich was like this thick, which is corned beef pie out of it, and man, it was good. It was good. They had pastrami too. It's just they're different. I like them both. They're different. Like what's really good is pastrami and corned beef on the same sandwich. Now that's a sandwich. That's a sandwich. Pastrami and corned beef on the same sandwich. I'm shocked people think it's either or. Both are great. Why not both? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Both are great. In a video for a song called Lemon Pound Cake, he ridiculed one deputy for eyeing the cake on his counter. In another social media post, he included images of Officer Lisa Phillips alongside graphic statements about her anatomy and sexuality. KB says, I know what I'm cooking tomorrow. I have a whole corned beef in my fridge that I was going to make yesterday, and I just didn't get around to doing it. I got to make it. I love it. I really like, what is it? Damn it. The name is escaping me, the type of corned beef. It's a good corned beef. And in 2003, Phillips and 6 others filed a civil lawsuit claiming they suffered emotional distress. A nice New York deli, an open-faced sandwich, either will do. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, too. Like, where I'm at now, man, you can't even get good rye bread where I'm at. There's a thing called Jason's Deli down here that's pretty decent, but they don't make the sandwiches like you used to be able to get. That's all I'm saying. And that subjected them to death threats because of his posts. In a trial in Adams County this week, Afroman told the jurors from the witness stand that he had a constitutional right to make such artistic and critical content, particularly about government officials. That argument echoed what the ACLU wrote in 2023 when it called the lawsuit against Afroman nothing short of absurd. So wait, I'm agreeing with the ACLU. I motion for a Cooking with Jim segment, corned beef first up. Well, that's not really you cook mine in a pressure cooker, tender as heck. I cook mine in the oven. You put it in a pan and you just cover it with water, just barely cover it with water. You put your, carrots and celery and cabbage and stuff in there. But don't put the cabbage in right away. You put the cabbage in later because otherwise it'll just fall apart. And you just cook it for like 3 hours at 300 degrees. That's it. That's the rule of threes is what I was told. And then I boil my potatoes separate and then put them in just because, I don't know. That's how you do it, but in a crock pot. I mean, a pressure cooker does sound good. I got freedom of speech. After they run around my house with guns and kick down my door, I got a right to kick a can in my backyard. Yeah. Use my freedom of speech and turn my bad times into a good time. Yes, I do, he told the jurors. You do a big crock pot? I have made it, I do have a Traeger smoker. Maybe I will smoke the corned beef. How does that sound? I'll make a smoked corned beef. Maybe I'll turn the corned beef into pastrami myself. I think I will do that. It's fast too if time is short. I think I will do that. I think I will use a bottle of Guinness. I think I will smoke the corned beef. And I think I'm a sport for doing so because I don't go to their house, kick down their doors, and try to play the victim and sue them. In another flashy moment on the stand, Afroman explained to jurors why he had later invited a local TV news crew to accompany him to the sheriff's station to get his money back. Not because he wanted publicity, but because he feared for his safety. They messed with him, so he messed with them back. Sounds fair. I didn't want to get beat up or Epsteined at the sheriff's station after I seen them running around my house with AR-15s, the rapper said, referring to persistent internet rumors that infamous sexual abuser Jeffrey Epstein's prison suicide was staged and that he was actually murdered. That's why I brought the news and my attorney. Adams County Sheriff deputies took the stand, including Cooley, the officer Afroman referred to as Officer Poundcake, who watched the music video in the courtroom. When Phillips got on the stand, she wept along as the video played, which Afroman later heard as Lick 'em Low Lisa, crudely suggested she was a lesbian. I don't know. Is that suggesting just maybe she said lick 'em? She could have been talking about a guy. During one heated exchange, Walters testified about a video in which Afroman repeatedly says that he had sex with the officer's wife. Walters said listeners had understood that statement as factual and that it had caused him tremendous pain. Yeah, he's forever Officer Poundcake. Afroman is a Trumper. I think maybe. A lot of rappers love Trump. Always. They always. You got to remember, in the 80s and 90s and shit, 2000s, even Trump was in all the rap songs. Everyone wanted to be Trump, Trump this, Trump that. They all thought Trump was the greatest thing in the world. So, because we all own that's not true, right? Fired back David Osborne, the rapper's lawyer, to which Walters said that he didn't know. You don't know if your wife's cheating on you or not? Osborne then asked, prompting Walters to angrily glare back and ask, you want to go there? No, I just want to ask you the question since you said we don't know. Yeah, loud pound cake. Yep. Afroman is a Trump-level troll. It's hilarious. Yeah, he got down with it. Osborne seemingly trying to suggest to jurors the statement couldn't be proven false or true, a key requirement of a defamation claim. Yeah. So that's right. So if the cop is saying he doesn't know if the guy is sleeping with his wife, that can't be defamation. He doesn't know if it's true or not, because that would the officer doesn't know if it's true or not. Does his wife not tell him? Or what if he was sleeping with the wife and that's why they raided his house? In their closing statements on Wednesday, attorneys for both sides clashed over the lofty free speech issues raised by the defense. Robert Klingler, the lawyer for the officers, told the jury that Afroman had perpetuated lies intentionally for years about public servants who had risked their lives for this county for years, and then the framing of this case as a First Amendment battle was legally wrong. I mean, I know attorneys are supposed to make arguments, but, you think they could get the first thing important, like the first thing in the Constitution, like the number one thing, the first thing, the freedom of speech. You think they could get that right and be like, yeah, this is a case, you shouldn't bring this case? Like, maybe. Mr. Foreman doesn't get to wrap himself in the American flag and say, you can't touch me. Actually, yes, he does. Actually, yes, you do. As an American citizen, you get to wrap yourself in the American flag and say, I have these rights, inalienable rights that you can't take away from me, no matter what. Especially government can't take it away. Especially government officials. Yes, he's a Trump supporter. First I heard of him was Hunter Got High. Yeah. Oh, yeah, he did make that song. Yeah. He can't do that. Osborne quickly fired back that he can, in fact, do that. In a closing statement, he cited NWA's "But the Police, but the police." Free speech in Babylon? Yes. Freedom U.S., that's right. And Richard Pryor's comedy acts. Osborne told, now I want you guys to remember, though, they did arrest NWA in Ohio or somewhere else where they performed the song, where they told them if they performed they were going to arrest them. They did come and arrest them, guys. They did arrest Luke Skywalker from, oh my God, I can't believe, Baby Got Back. Damn it, and I can't think of the name of the song, the name of the group now, and it's going to drive me crazy. Luke Skywalker and the guys are from Miami. Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening to me. Oh wow. Hey, what's up, Catherine K? Great to see you. I got Two Live Crew. That's right, Two Live Crew. Damn it, Two Live Crew. Two Live Crew. I can't believe my brain blanked on that. Yeah, can't touch me, MC Hammer. Can't touch this. So yeah, and then they did arrest, like, this has been a fight, man, and they did arrest Lenny Bruce, right, and George Carlin, stuff like that, for the 7 words, and the judge was totally disappointed with the verdict. He didn't even try to hide it. Yeah, no, the judge was trying to pull, like, don't do this First Amendment stuff in my courtrooms. Hey, what's up? How you doing, Snarf? Great to see you. Joe's here. What's up, Joe? Sorry, yeah, Two Live Crew. That's right. That is what I would call a great. I really like this, especially this. You liked Ice Cube? Yeah. I listened to all types of rap stuff growing up. I liked it. It's good stuff. I sung along as I was walking down the street and stuff on the south side of Chicago. I even said all the words to the song. I never shied away because it wasn't a thing. People didn't care. You weren't calling somebody a name. You were just singing along to the song. It wasn't like today where you got this weird crap going on where it's like, oh my God, you can't sing along to the song or you're racist. Hey, what's up, Sunshine? Great to see you. He folded. Who folded? You're saying Ice Cube folded? He went political? Oh, yeah. Well, I think he's always, you got to remember, Ice Cube was always the rich kid. He was the kid that lived in the suburbs that came and spent time with other people. He was basically like the rich kid who came, like Ice. In all reality, the actual gangster was Eazy-E, was the gangster drug dealer. That's who of NWA. That was the actual one. Dr. Dre was, there's videos of Dr. Dre. Anyway, we're not gonna get into that. Anyway, other weird stuff. Anyway, that's all I'll say. Other weird stuff, people. Yes. What chilling effect does it have on the world we live in? You don't like what a public official does, and you make a joke, and you're dragged into court. Yeah, that's right. That's what. Correct. Good call. They said the jury was mostly old people. Old people remember Red Fox, Richard Pryor, Ray Stevens, and Cromwell. Well, it has to make you realize too, Margie, and thanks for being here. Thanks for your comment. It has to make you think. The people, this is a small town, small county. They knew what was going on. It was publicized. They knew it was that it was a bad raid. They knew it wasn't a good raid, that it wasn't legally justified, that they went off of somebody's lies, all right, and raided this guy's house and then refused to make it right. Like, it'd be one thing. If the cops make a mistake, if someone gives them bad information, they raid your house, you pay for what you damaged. You make it right, and then you go, okay, well, I understand. You guys were just following it, whatever. Yeah. Back in the old days, the record days. Yes. I remember listening, as a real young kid, I remember listening to, like, the first time I heard a Richard Pryor album or an Eddie Murphy album, all right, or a Bill Cosby album or a Cheech and Chong album. Yeah. Cheech and Chong had some great albums. Yeah. Earache my eye. I got an earache. I'm not going to school, man. I got an earache. Yeah. Pryor. Own it and move on. Yeah. You just say, you know what? We messed up. Sorry. We'll pay for the door. Pay for the damages. All right. All right. So now on to the next story, which I hope this doesn't offend people, but this is something that we're going to talk about because I've got my own theories about what's happening here. All right. Cesar Chavez, civil rights icon, is accused of sexually abusing underage girls for years. All right. Cesar Chavez has been dead for 33 years. He died in 1993. Okay? Cesar Chavez died in 1993. This woman, Dolores Huerta, is a labor activist. She claims that she was, what's the word she used? Manipulated into having sex with him in 1960. Okay? 1960. She's 96 years old, this woman. 86 or 96. But she's just saying this now. And she has a website where you can donate money to help illegal alien victims of sexual assault. Get it? Now, Cesar Chavez, all right, was completely opposed to illegal immigration. He used to beat illegal aliens. They'd go out in the fields and catch people illegally, border jumpers, he called them. Not me. He called them border jumpers. He called them wetbacks. I don't call them that. That's what Cesar Chavez called them. All right? Is she pulling E. Jean Carroll? This is worse because he can't defend himself. He's been dead for 33 years. But what I think they're trying to do is because of his opposition to illegal immigration, all right, they're trying to basically say that this guy, like they're trying to get rid of him because this is the thing, like, hey, why was this guy who was all about farm workers and all this stuff, why was he opposed to illegal aliens? Because he knew that they drove down wages for American workers. He knew that they drove up costs for American workers by taking the scarce resources we have. He knew all this stuff. And that's why he opposed them. Like, he used to go in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, he used to go and round them up and bring them and get them out of here, get them out of here. Yeah. So that's what's going on here. So, yeah, so he says, they're saying like, the New York Times reported. So this New York Times decided to do a story on a guy who's been dead for 33 years. 33 years. They are trying to cancel a dead man. They already canceled him. That's the story. They canceled him. This guy had a day, Cesar Chavez Day, named after him, national holidays and celebrations. Obama made him Obama made it like a special day, Cesar Chavez Day and all this stuff. Well, they're just canceling all that stuff. Just cancel it. Yeah. and said, the second time I was forced against my will in an environment where I felt trapped. And she arranged for her children to be raised by others. So she says that not once, but twice he manipulated her into having sex with him. So the calls to rename or rephrase Chavez Day have emerged amid the revelations. Los Angeles County's considered changing the holiday to Farm Worker Day. So they want to take his day away. They want to get rid of him because he opposed illegal immigration, and you can't oppose illegal immigration and be a hero of the left today. Now, do I politically agree with this guy? Probably not. Was he a communist? I'm pretty sure he was. But what they're doing to him, I have to call out that I say it's wrong because he's been dead for 33 years. There's no way to defend himself, no way to come up with anything. She had 7 kids, and she gave them all away to other people? Probably. Yeah. Can't defend himself, and twitching Gavin is enjoying every minute of it? Probably, Because, what they... I mean, Harvey Weinstein, from all accounts, seems like a real scumbag. But if a woman, if he forced anybody to do anything, that's a crime, in my opinion. You don't force people to do anything. But if you tell a girl, hey, listen, you want this part, you want to, whatever, and she agrees to it, that's an agreement between two people, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm just saying. How can a woman prove he did this? Nobody can prove he did anything. But just the accusation was enough to get his shit all canceled. All right. Why now? Because people keep bringing up, and they have been bringing up for several years now, because they talk about, the farm workers and this and that. And the unions goes, no. Cesar Chavez, the head of the farm workers that pushed all this stuff, was completely opposed to illegal immigration. He wanted them out of the country. Out. That's what he wanted. He wanted them out of the country. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So they want to rename the day. Chavez family said they're shocked and saddened at the organization are developing a safe and confidential process for support. So New York Times said that Chavez sexually abused 2 underage girls between 1972 and 77 based on interviews with over 60 people. So they interviewed 60 people, and they claimed that he did something to 2 girls. Well, how did the 60 people know about it if they knew about something? Yeah. The Democrats don't want to be associated with that narrative. That's right. So they got to cancel him. And then they could say, see, anybody opposed to illegal immigration is, the original name of Cesar Chavez Street in San Francisco was Army Street. I think the knee needs to come back. Oh, they're going to get rid of everything. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they're going to get rid of everything. He was for work visa, worker protections, and safety. He was not for any illegal immigration. He wanted, they tried to change what he was for. He was for people to come on temporary work, like to come up on temporary work permits and then go back home. That's what he was for, migrant workers. And he wanted them to be in the union and pay dues and get paid the same. He didn't want people hiring illegals under the table, driving down wages. All right. That's what he didn't want. He wanted everything to be legal. Will Canada, Carney liberals get a majority and ram through all censorship laws? Probably. Back in the day, I know. Yeah. He unionized legal immigrants. Yes, legal immigrants. Yes, legal. He was against illegal immigration. Yeah, I remember his movement well. Yeah, he was. There's. Anyways, we're gonna talk about this a little bit. I just think this is what they do. They tried to do this to protect Kat Abu Ghazala, the girl that got arrested for fucking with ICE at the protests outside of Chicago. She was running for Congress. They tried to smear a guy who beat her, to try to get him at the last minute, the guy who beat her in the Democrat primary. They tried to smear him and say, back when you were 24 and you were a teacher's assistant and this girl was 20, you went out on dates with her and you kissed her a couple times and you took advantage of her because you were a teacher's assistant and she was just a student. He was 24, she was 20 or 21. And it's seriously, this is their playbook. They tried it with Blasey Ford, didn't work. They tried it with E. Jean Carroll with Trump, whatever. I mean, it's just a pattern. And that's why they're trying to remove all the limitations on the statute of limitations, because if you go back far enough, there's no way to disprove anything. It's just people say things. And then it's how do you get rid of it? The grape boycott was his claim to fame. Well, yeah, now they're accusing him of grape. The city of Austin is now trying to rename Cesar Chavez Street. I'm sure they are, yes. Before Chavez, they didn't even have porta potties for the workers. Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna talk a little bit about this. We're gonna look at some of the stories and see how they cover it, and see how they talk about it. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we do here. That's how we do. That's how we do. That's how we do. All right. Kavanaugh all over again, too. Yeah. That's what they try. Yeah, that was a grape joke. It was. See? Wave of Cesar Chavez events pulled as troubling allegations made against civil rights leader. Like, what I would do, personally, me, is any of these people saying that they knew about this stuff and they didn't say anything, they should be arrested for obstruction of justice. That's what I would do. Oh, you knew about this and didn't say anything? You're under arrest for obstruction of justice. That's what I would do. Yeah, but Harvey Milk is still a hero to them, even if he diddled boys. Well, yeah, they don't care about diddling boys, you see. They don't care what happens to boys. They never have. They never have. Everyone always only cares. Oh, here was the thing about Afroman. I didn't even realize it. Today's video headlines. All right, so a wave of events honoring Cesar Chavez has been pulled amid troubling allegations made against the civil rights ringleader. Yeah, 33 years after he's dead. Is it safe to assume this is all BS from Chavez? I don't know if it's all BS. All right, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's all BS. To me, it smells of BS because of the timing, because of everything else that's going on. And why now? Why didn't this come out during the whole Me Too thing? In 2016, 2015, 2014. Why didn't it come out then? If Cesar Chavez raped young girls, is there a single civil rights icon who isn't a sexual predator? I mean, they tried doing the same thing to Martin Luther King, which there's a lot of stuff. I don't know if Martin Luther King ever raped anybody, but they know he was a philanderer. We can't know if it's BS or not. That's the thing. If you can't know if it's BS or not, you just have to assume it's BS. That's it. I'm sorry. You have to prove shit to me. That's just the way it is. After this amount of time, I mean, you're talking, these allegations were over a decade before I was born. California law will allow his union to massive legal liability enough to dismantle it. Well, I don't think they'll do that. I mean, how could they go after the union? Yeah, what's the point? There's only one reason to broadcast this. Yes, there's only one reason to broadcast this. And that's to get rid of the people so that people can't point to him and say, Cesar Chavez was opposed to illegal immigration. Then they can go, oh, no, he's a rapist, so you got to let it go. So, the United Farm Workers Union said in a statement on Tuesday it will halt all celebrations after learning of profoundly shocking allegations against one of the union's Chicano founders. The union pointed out claims have been made that Chavez behaved in ways that are incompatible with our organization's values. Through lawsuits? Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that that's possible. Like the union, I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know. Like that would be bad if they went after the union that supports them. Temporary work visas worked well. Yeah. People came. They were called migrant workers. They came for a short period of time, worked, went home. That's it. They need to rewrite history. Yes, they do. Now, Chavez is a historic figure in California where he rocketed to fame fighting for labor rights for migrant farm workers. He has schools, roads, and public buildings named after him in the state. He's also been honored by presidents for his activism, most recently by Joe Biden, who placed a bronze bust of him in the Oval Office during his presidency. The union statement delivers a reassessment of some may consider a legend. I mean, any updates on Iran and Ayatollah Whack-a-Mole? I got a couple stories. We'll get to it. We will get to it. I changed it. Okay. Some of the reports are family issues and not our story to tell or place to comment on. So now they're going to say family issues, like what, that he had cheated on his wife or had kids or some kind of issues, like something. By them saying family issues, it's something I don't. Far more troubling are allegations involving the abuse of young women or minors. Oh, the smells of Me Too bullshit. Yeah, that's the way I look at it. I go, oh no. Like, why this wouldn't have came out long ago? Like, you're going to tell me, all right, you're going to tell me that with what was going on in the 60s, with J. Edgar Hoover spying on Martin Luther King and these other people, this guy was considered a troublemaker, all right, to the, powers that be. He really was considered a troublemaker, that they wouldn't have been up in his shit and they wouldn't have known about this and they wouldn't have used it against him. No. That's what I'm saying. That's my take on it. The allegations include that very young women or girls may have been victimized. Oh, the statement pointed out that the union itself has not received any direct reports and we do not have any firsthand knowledge of these allegations. So the union just heard somebody say something somewhere and that's enough for them to cancel the guy, because right now the union's like, we want illegal aliens. They want to be done with him. He's nothing to them. He's nothing to them. Mm-hmm. However, the allegations are serious enough. So the allegations that no one's told them any information, they have no reports, they have nobody that came to them, they don't have any firsthand knowledge, they don't have anybody even secondhand knowledge or thirdhand knowledge, they just heard fucking rumors, and it's enough for them to go, aha, we got our way to get away from this guy. This is the only way to cancel him. It is. That's it. The statement went on to point out in response, the union will not be taking part in any Cesar Chavez Day activities. We're not going to celebrate the guy who was against illegal aliens. That's what it is. Yeah. Statue of Chavez dramatically hidden from view after bombshell rape accusations. The chilling 6-word Chavez muttered after he allegedly raped a 13-year-old girl. California Dems react to Chavez allegations. Devastating. Chavez's closest ally reveals he raped her and got her pregnant twice. That's not what she said. She said he manipulated her. Got her pregnant twice. These damning statements and cancellations come as the New York Times is set to publish the results of a years-long investigation into his past. Why would you do a years-long investigation into his past? Oh, is it because he said he's against illegal aliens and legal immigration and you want to get rid of him? He's a little sticky wicket for you. A Hispanic gentleman who didn't like illegal immigration. This all started with New York Times. Well, that's BS to me. Yes. Yeah. Instead, the group encouraged their supporters and allies to take part in immigration justice events. Immigration justice events, an act of service to support farm workers or empower vulnerable people in their communities. That's what this is all about. That's why this woman Huerta, is saying, donate to my Huerta Foundation, which helps illegal aliens. Yes. After careful considerations, we're going to cancel the March on the Car show and move forward with the rally only. The rally's still happening. We encourage the community. We will be having folklorico music, food trucks, vendors. Let's continue to honor the legacy of our movement. The union said it will establish an external confidential channel for those who may have experienced harm by Chavez to be able to share their experiences. So just like they did with Epstein, then you got a whole bunch of people coming out of woodwork fucking lying about it. 33 years after he died, it was so very important. Oh, yeah, it is. Erase history, pull an envious pharaoh and erase him from all the records, move the statues, bust memorials. Yeah, more Democrat rebranding. That's all it is. Honey traps, jailbait. Yeah, that's all it is. And their experience of harms, identify their current impacts and needs, and if desired, to participate in the collective process to develop mechanisms for repair and accountability. The statement followed news of cancellations on Monday of events that were planned in Houston, San Antonio, Corpus Christi, Tucson, San Francisco, and across the country. Chavez has been hailed as a hero of migrant farm workers in California, bursting onto the scene in the 1960s. Chavez, Dolores Huerta, Larry Itong, Gilbert Padilla, and other early organizers founded the United Farm Workers of America in 1962. Well, this one, Huerta, is the one that made the allegations all of a sudden now that it's, that they're like going on. So, because she's like an immigrant rights activist, not so much a farm workers rights activist. She's more about immigrants, illegal immigrants. In 2012, Barack Obama established a Cesar E. Chavez National Monument at the Nuestra Senora Reina de la Paz, Chavez's home and headquarters. The designation made the site the 398th unit of the National Park Service and first to honor a contemporary Latino Americano. Just like the UK putting wildlife on their currency now. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, wow, racing history. How 1984 can these Marxists get? Well, they're there, man. They thought the book was actually an instruction manual. Will Trump make Carg Island great again? I don't know what they're going to do with Carg Island. I mean, if it was me, I would take it and sit on it for a little while and be like, force Iran's hand to basically, get a new government in there. Oh, what do you know? March for Justice. You got Chavez right in the middle, and that's Huerta on the right. So a march in Tucson canceled. The civil rights leader died in 1993. 1993. 33 years ago. Seems a little late to be bringing this shit up. What's next? Is some woman going to roll out here and say that, Chester A. Arthur raped her? Ulysses S. Grant raped her? What? Something like that. Someone's going to come out and say that their great-grandmother told a story that's been passed down a generation that George Washington raped her? Is that where we're fucking going with this? Really? Really? The Chavez Foundation released a similar statement on Tuesday about the allegations. The Cesar Chavez Foundation has become aware of disturbing allegations that Chavez engaged in inappropriate sexual behavior with women and minors during his time as the president of the United Farm Workers of America Union. Would they be shocked to find out what Woody Allen did to young girls, one of them that was even his adopted daughter? Would they be surprised, even though they all hang out and party with him and think it's great? I mean, yes. LA is changing everything ASAP, yeah. Candace Owens is going to get a visitation dream. Probably. Will we see MTG Tucker Massey ticket that would crash a bird so fast make DeSantis campaign look genius? I don't think we're going to see one. I mean, they can do what they want, but MTG has basically burned all her bridges. She's never, her only chance is to claim, to basically admit, I was always a communist. I was just pretending and saying all these things, This does make me think her comments about the Jewish space laser were more anti-Semitic than I originally thought. I thought she was just being goofy. Maybe she just hates Jews. I don't know. FDR wasn't exactly a nice guy, yet he's revered by the far left. Yeah. If they had dirt on HI, him at the time, they would have used it. That's what I'm saying. On this guy, MTG has burned those bridges. Oh, definitely. If they had dirt, if the FBI under J. Edgar Hoover had dirt on Chavez in the 60s, they would have used it. And you don't think they didn't have phones? They used to legally wiretap people all the time. And I don't know at the time if it was even illegal. They just did it and just tapped people's phones, bugged it and stuff. They bugged offices. They did everything. They were listening to his calls. So they would have known if he was raping girls or sleeping with underage girls, and they would have used it to stop him or control him or put him in jail. Oh, and that's not me saying it's a good thing. I'm saying the government was very, very, very fucking corrupt in the 60s. Very bad. The federal government, the FBI under J. Edgar Hoover. This is a guy who held the office all the way from the 30s all the way to the 60s and was like, it's the same with the Epstein files and Trump. If there was something, they would have used it. Yeah, if there was something on Trump and the Epstein files, if there was anything, Obama would have put it out. Biden would have put it out. The Clintons would have put it out. Somebody would have put it out. They would have put it out. Epstein himself would have put it out to get rid of Trump. Since the Post has reached out to the UFW and Chavez Foundation for comment. Hoover the cross-dresser. Yeah. Never married. Lived with his best friend. What the hell was his best friend's name? And I think he lived with his mom until she died, and then lived with his best friend and was like his. How long until Silverstein's newest LA building purchase will see calamity windfall like the newly purchased Twin Towers in 9/11? Well, I did hear that. Like, I don't know. Like, release the Chavez files, definitely. Here's the thing about Silverstein. Like, he didn't newly purchase the Twin Towers before 9/11. I don't think. I do think he did. He did get new insurance a couple weeks or months before the crash. I don't know about this other building and stuff so much. Is this a new building that he just purchased? and then he put terrorism insurance on. Like, I don't know. That would be a big coincidence, in my opinion. That would be a big coincidence. Like, maybe more than a coincidence. 99-year lease. All right. All this is to take. Yeah. Let's see. And then we got the Gateway Pundit. Let's see what they have to say about it. What the hell is that all about? Leftist civil rights icon Cesar Chavez accused of years of child sexual abuse. Says a major investigation by the New York Times has raised child asexual abuse. What is child asexual abuse? Albistosis, Bank Tower in L.A. Yeah. Of course, there's something on Trump and the Epstein files. They just haven't made it up yet. Okay, I agree. Yeah. What is asexual abuse? Child asexual abuse. I mean, I wonder if this is just AI. And the leftist labor activist long celebrated as a civil rights figure. The report outlines claims by multiple women who say Chavez abused them while they were minors during the 1970s. Well, was it the 70s or the 60s? Because the last one said the 60s. When he was at the height of his national influence. Two women, Ana Merguia and Deborah Rojas, alleged they were targeted as young teenagers while their families were closely involved in United Farm Workers, the organization Chavez co-founded. Both described a pattern of manipulation and abuse, they say, that continued over a number of years. Manipulation and abuse that continued over a number of years. According to the investigation, their accounts are supported by interviews with more than 60 individuals, as well as internal union records, emails, photographs, and archival materials. Well, like I said, if there is something to this, then these 60 other individuals that said they knew about it should go to jail. You've never heard of asexual abuse. I mean, wouldn't that be somebody that abuses themselves? Like, with no one else? I'm not sure. This is just a diversion from California fraud Nick Shirley is unearthing. It could be. It could very well be. So the report suggests these allegations were not isolated incidents, but part of a broader pattern of behavior involving women connected to the movement. So they're saying this went on for 40 years, 50 years, and nobody said nothing until after he was dead for 33 years. Ms. Rojas said she was 12 when Chavez first touched her inappropriately, groping her breasts in the same office where she met Ms. Merguia. When Ms. Rojas was 15, he arranged to have her stay at a motel during a weeks-long march through California, she said, and had sexual intercourse with her, rape under state law because she was not old enough to consent. Ms. Merguia said Chavez molested her but never had intercourse with her. Woodrow Wilson, the architect, FDR, the implementer, LBJ, the destroyer, all of them were communists. A leader never gets compromised willingly. Asexual abuse, getting someone not into sex to do sex, I guess. Maybe. The abuse allegations appear to be part of a larger pattern, which never been publicly revealed. So never been publicly revealed. Stuff that happened 70 years ago. It's never been publicly revealed until now. The Times investigation found that Mr. Chavez also used many of the women who worked and volunteered in his movements for his own sexual gratification. So what this means is women who were attracted to him because of his, and I'm sorry if anyone gets offended by this, but this is just my face value looking at it. These are women, not the girls. If these kids were abused, that's horrible and wrong, and dig up his coffin and ship it into the wood chipper. But these women who are part of the movement, who they say were manipulated and used for their own sexual gratification. Now, let's be very clear. He was the head of the union. He was very popular. He was not an ugly man. They were mostly all, so they probably were like attracted to him and they just wanted to be with him. And the fact that he just slept with them and didn't date them. So now that it's called regret, not rape. In a separate allegation, his close ally and longtime activist, Dolores Huerta, said Chavez assaulted her in the 1960s. Unfortunately, he used some of his great leadership to abuse women and children. It's really awful. Oh, yeah, so his leadership to just convince you. I can no longer stay silent, must share my own experiences. Dolores Huerta, a labor activist who co-founded the United Farm Workers with Cesar Chavez, said she was manipulated and pressured into having sex with him. The farm workers had since announced it will cancel events honoring Chavez. The organization said it would take time to review the claims and ensure support, if available, to those affected. Public officials have also begun reassessing Chavez's legacy. Streets, schools, institutions bearing his name are now under review in several states as pressure builds for a broader reevaluation. Are they going to start renaming MLK streets because of all the stuff that he did? No. This is simply for one thing, illegal immigration. This is all because this is everything with the Democrat Party is illegal immigration. They have to get the illegals in here. The illegals have to vote. It's the only way they can have power. That's it. That's what this is all about. He died in 93 and remains one of the most prominent figures in modern American left-wing activism. Yes. What? I loathe women who can't take responsibility of their actions. Oh, well. And I'm not saying like, oh, she's responsible because she had a short dress on. I'm saying these are women who are saying that like, oh, he used his influence and stuff to trick me. What? You know, he talked to me. He told me he loved me, and he didn't. He just wanted to use me for sexual gratification. I mean, is it untoward? Yes. Is it, not like gentlemanly? Definitely. But it ain't rape. Sounds like the Marxists are willing to bust their own union. That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. And I always thought with Marxists that nobody owned everything. It was all about the collective. So wouldn't they be fine with it? You know, it was all for the greater good, right? As a co-founder of the United Farm Workers, he led high-profile strikes and national boycotts that brought widespread attention to the conditions of agricultural laborers across the United States. I mean, he is the most prominent figure when it comes to this. I bet they were all on drugs. Oh, I'm sure they were all smoking the devil's lettuce. MLK needs to go too. Yeah. Huerta is just after the bucks. She's just trying to raise money. That's what she's doing. Over time, his image became heavily institutionalized through school names, public highways, holidays, public recognition, cementing his statue and status as a central figure in progressive politics. Yeah. He was posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by Bill Clinton and has been widely honored by Democrat leaders, including having his likeness displayed in the Oval Office. Don't go near MLK Street, Road, or Boulevard if you value your life. Yeah, it's really weird that every street around where MLK is the most dangerous place you could ever go. Benku. Boo, don't believe all women. No, you believe facts. That's it. Trust but verify, all this stuff. This is simply, these women are saying this. And then when they do this, when they say, we're going to put out a call for anyone else to come and tell us things, it's like, that's not how you do an investigation. It's not. Like, people just come out of the woodwork to make shit up. Shame, ding, ding, shame, ding, ding, shame. Shame. Yeah, I get it. Shame. So, and here's this story from KFox TV. It says Dolores Huerta reveals decades-long secret, alleges sexual abuse. So it's sexual abuse to say that he manipulated you into sex. Oh. So she experienced sexual abuse at the hands of fellow farm workers movement leader, ending what she described as more than 6 decades of silence. Yes, more than 6 decades of silence. She's now 96 years old, says she chose to come forward following a multi-year investigation involving Chavez. So she's probably the one who knew about the investigation. Maybe they talked to her. Even Chris Rock made a famous joke about all the places with MLK Boulevard. Sounded like you said, believe fags. I was like, oh, what? Dementia. Yeah, maybe she's got dementia. Yeah. Are they going to DNA test on her kids? They should. They should. Baltimore has an MLK Boulevard. I think every major city has an MLK Boulevard. I'm pretty sure. Like every major city. Jason says, will LA be to handle the upcoming games? Apparently the police department is understaffed. They don't have enough buses and banning cars. MK Ultra could be MK Ultra, definitely. Yep. I don't know, man. I'm a little worried about the games. The last American version. Yeah. In a statement released by Huerta, she said she chose to come forward following the investigation. I have kept a secret the last 60 years because I believed that exposing the truth would hurt the farm workers movement I had spent my entire life fighting for. I can no longer stay silent, and I must share my own experiences. Huerta, co-founder, detailed 2 separate encounters with Chavez during the 1960s. She described the first as a situation in which she felt manipulated and pressured. Manipulated and pressured. Oh. Why? Did he say something like, if you don't have sex with me, that means you don't love me or something like that? Or, if you want to be with something like that? I mean, what was it? What do you mean manipulated and pressured? Like, did he say, if you don't have sex with me, I'm going to go have sex with someone else? Was that it? I mean, what was it? Yes. Even if the DNA is right, there's no proof it wasn't consensual? Nah, that's what I'm saying. There's no proof it wasn't consensual. And she was, because Chavez was her boss and leader she admired. So she admired this person, loved him, probably wanted to marry him and be with him. And because he didn't, now she's mad. Yeah, Fort Myers does. It's a sketchy area. Yeah, every major city has an every major city has an MLK Boulevard. Every. Did he tell her he loved her? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Is that manipulation? Telling someone you love them? On a second encounter, she said she was forced and it occurred in an environment where she felt trapped. According to the statement, both encounters resulted in pregnancies. Walter said she kept them secret and arranged for her children to be raised by other families. She added that she had since developed close relationships with them, though the circumstances surrounding their conception remained undisclosed until recently. Yeah, what did she tell her kids about it? What did she tell her kids? That's what I would like to know. I have never identified myself as a victim, but now I understand that I am a survivor. Lady, you're not a survivor. I mean, you survived 96 years. But you're just an opportunistic see you next Tuesday, in my opinion. My opinions. That's my opinions. Huerta said, describing years of personal reflection, she also noted that she had experienced prior abuse and felt compelled at the time to endure the incidents in silence. So now she's saying that she's had prior abuse prior to this. So is this something that she went to somebody and they pulled it out of her? You know, institutionalized victimhood is mental slavery. It is. That's what I'm saying. Did she go see some kind of like psychologist or psychiatrist that said she had buried trauma and they got it out of her through, you know, I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm very suspect. If somebody doesn't say something for, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, I have to say bullshit. Bullshit. Her statement also referenced other alleged victims, noting that women have begun to come forward. Yes, when you say, please come forward and tell us he abused you, women are going to come forward and say, oh, yes, he abused me. Yes, definitely. Yes, he told me he loved me. What's next is she is autistic and trans. Yeah. Will they go full Michael Jackson, start dismantling his estate and selling it off piece by piece? I don't know that he's got a big estate. I mean, there was a bunch of stuff. There was like all the money, I'm pretty sure it was like NGO money type of thing, where donations and, tax-free from getting stuff from the government, stuff like that. The knowledge that he hurt young girls sickens me, adding that her heart aches for everyone who suffered alone and silence. Now it's real weird that she just says like, oh, it's a fact that he did these things just immediately, not like accused or anything. Because I mean, they can't be sued for defamation because he's dead. I mean, technically, if the foundation wanted to, unless this is all some kind of deal, that's what I'm saying. This is all about illegal immigration. This is all about illegal immigration. Should celebrations be canceled following the allegations? No. Wow, look at it. 79% say yes, they should be canceled. I mean, it's a trick question because I think they should be canceled because, just because, but not because of this. Despite the allegations, Huerta emphasized that Chavez's actions should not overshadow the achievements of the broader movement. Oh, yeah. The farmer market movement has always been bigger and far more important than any one individual. Well, that's not what she thought at the time. She said she admired him and she thought he was the greatest and all this stuff. Reaffirming her continued commitment to workers' rights and gender equity. Gender equity. Her statement concludes with a call for support of sexual violence. Well, you didn't put what she actually said. She gave the name of her foundation asking for donations to help illegal immigrants who were abused. That's what she's saying. Instead of a ballast harvesting, they're going to retirement home, from retirement home, victim harvesting. Yeah, that's what they do. That's how they do. That's how they do. Just the news. Chavez events canceled, suspended amid allegations of abuse by a 1960s labor union icon. Yeah. So yeah, nothing. This woman come forward and then, Anyway, so let's. So he was 66 years old in 93. So that would put him, if he was still alive today, at 99. So he was a whole 3 years older than the woman who said she was manipulated and pressured. We have become aware of allegations, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we heard that. At the foundation's request, Chavez's name, events in his name were canceled. Tucson Mayor Regina Romero said she was personally devastated by the allegations. Just nobody, nobody says like, well, is it true? Is it true? Is it true? Is it true? All right, on to the next story now. Harvard meets Harlequin. Yeah. Fireworks as Rand Paul and Markwayne Mullen tear into each other after Paul brings up what Mullen said after the Kentucky senator was assaulted by his neighbor. An ugly scene unfolded during Senator Markwayne Mullen's confirmation hearing as Rand Paul decided to settle a personal score with him. Yeah, of course, Rand Paul says he's not going to vote for him. I'm not going to vote for anything because, I won't vote for anything Trump's involved in because I'm still mad at Trump because Trump made fun of my hair. With hair like that, you shouldn't be up here. Paul decided to take his time to address something Mullen said about him after a long ago assault. As the Gateway Pundit readers know, Paul was attacked by his neighbor in November 2017 over a property dispute. He suffered broken ribs and later a damaged lung. Mullen, who was a congressman at the time, later said that he completely understood why Paul was attacked. Okay, yeah, I completely understand why he's attacked. I understand why he was attacked because his neighbor had was a deranged leftist who hated his guts. An angry Paul slammed Mullen as a coward and a liar, then demanded that Mullen look him in the eye and tell the world that he deserved to be assaulted. Did he say he deserved to be assaulted? That's not what he said. He said, I completely understand why he was attacked. Like, people might have asked him, why do you think he was attacked? Oh, I completely understand why he was attacked. Yeah. Tell it to my face. You told the media I was a freaking snake and you understood why I was assaulted. Tell it to my face. That's what you believe.
Funding for refugee welfare programs. Instead of explaining your vote to continue these welfare programs for refugees, you decided to transfer the blame. You told the media that I was a freaking snake and that you completely understood why I had been assaulted. I was shocked that you would justify and celebrate this violent assault that caused me so much pain and my family so much pain.
Did he actually say that, or is this just what a reporter claims he said?
Against their political opponents is the right person.
Yeah, he didn't say he deserved it. He said he understood why.
Limits to the proper use of force. You might argue you were mad and upset about being confronted by your constituents. But Senator Mullen, your constituents are justifiably upset with you. By now, most of America knows that the Somali welfare fraud in Minnesota stole over $9 billion. But instead of defending your vote, you took to continue the vote to continue these refugee welfare programs. You chose to lash out at me. You went on to brag that you'd already told me to my face that you completely understood and approved of the assault. Well, that's a lie. You got a chance today. You can either continue to lie or you can correct the record. You have never had the courage to look me in the eye and tell me that the assault was justified. So today you'll have your chance. Today I'll give you that chance to clear the record. Tell it to my face. If that's what you believe, tell it to me today. Tell the world why you believe I deserve to be assaulted from behind, have 6 ribs broken and a damaged lung. Tell me to my face why you think I deserved it.
Oh, that's it? They're not going to show what he said? Come on. What are you guys doing to me here? Paul, you told the media I was a freaking snake and you understood why. I wonder if someone who applauds violence against political opponents is the right person to lead the agency. Oh, you might argue you were mad and upset. Instead of defending these votes, you chose to lash out at me. Like, I don't understand. Tell it to my face. Tell it to my face. Holy smokes. Markwayne Mullen just clapped back and called after he called Mullen a liar. If you have something to say, I'll say it directly to your face. Seems like you fight Republicans more than you work with us. For that, you say I'm a liar? Oh, okay, we'll do this because it's here. Yeah.
There's every.
So, yeah. So, and if you recall back in my house days, we actually did have this conversation because of the remarks I made. You were in a room. I simply addressed it. I said I could understand because of the behavior you were having that I could understand why your neighbor did what he did. So he did say it.
Chairman made, calling me a liar. Sir, I think everybody in this room knows that I'm very blunt and direct to the point, and if I have something to say, I'll say it directly to your face. If you recall, back in my House days, we actually did have this conversation because of the remarks that I made. You were in a room. I simply addressed that I said I could understand because of the behavior you were having, that I could understand why the neighbor did what he did. As far as my terms of the snake in the grass, sir, I work around this room to try to fix problems. I've worked with many people in this room. Seems like you fight Republicans more than you work with us. I did address those remarks. I did explain your gimmicks by the amendment you put forth. And as far as me saying that I invoke violence, I don't. I don't think anybody should be hit by surprise. I don't like that. But if I do have something to say, everybody in this room knows I'll come straight to you. I'll say it publicly and I'll say it privately, but I'll never say it behind your back. So for you to say, I'm a liar, sir, that's not accurate. And I got proof to say that because you have spent millions of dollars in my campaigns against me because we just don't get along. However, sir, that doesn't keep me at all from doing my job. I can have different opinions with everybody in this room, but as Secretary of Homeland, I'll be protecting everybody, including Kentucky, as much as I will my own backyard in Oklahoma. It's bigger than the partisan bickering that we have. It's bigger than the political differences we have. The truth is, I have a job to do, and I don't like to fail at anything, at all. So I can set it aside if you're willing to set it aside. Let me earn your respect. Let me earn.
Yeah, he goes to Haiti to do free medical, but never heard of him doing it in Kentucky. I may be wrong. I don't think he does it in Kentucky. I don't know if he still has his license to practice in Kentucky. You know, if he's still a medically licensed doctor. I don't know. Maybe he is. He's an ophthalmologist, I think, right? Does eye work, eye surgeries. So, yeah, so there's that. And I respect him for that. Not enough politicals are like that. Mullen will be confirmed. Yeah, he's going to be confirmed because just because John Fetterman's already saying that he's going to support him. I think everyone in this room knows I'm pretty blunt. I simply addressed I could understand. As far as the term snake in the grass, yeah, we saw this. Okay. However, that doesn't keep me from doing my job. Okay. The truth is I have a job to do. I'm going to do it. Rand Paul, Mark and one get into a tense back and forth. You offered no apology, and you offered no apology today. Haven't you ever heard the word apologize and regret? Oh, okay. So this is where we're at. This is where we're at. We're going to keep going doing this.
Age at all. In fact, you said get your paperwork in. It's got to be at 3 days in between.
You offered no apology.
Sir?
And you offer no apology today and no regrets. Haven't heard the word apologize, haven't heard the word regret, haven't heard I misspoke and it was heated and I made a mistake. Haven't heard any of those words.
Sir, actually, it wasn't heated, and I'm not apologizing for pointing out your character.
Good. So you're jolly well fine, and you want the American public and the people up here to vote that may or may not vote for you to know that you supported the felonious, violent attack on me from behind.
I did not say I supported it. I said I understood it. There's a difference.
Oh, so that means you really didn't approve of it, just completely understand it. What do you think most people would interpret completely understand to be? Support for or a condemnation of the violence?
Sir, as I said, we can have our differences. It's not going to keep me from doing my job as Secretary of Homeland Security. I'm going to secure Kentucky and take care of Kentucky as much as I am Oklahoma.
If this were a one-off, it would be one thing. If you just disliked me so much that you approved of violence against me, people could.
He said he doesn't approve of violence against you, you fucking scumbag.
But really, there's a pattern of this. Let's go ahead and roll the tape.
Oh, they're gonna roll the tape. What of when the labor leader guy threatened him and he said, "You want to fight? Let's fight. Let's go right now." Is that what they're gonna roll? Because that was fucking based and awesome. When the politician pretending to be a union leader tried to say, I understand Paul is an obnoxious Twitter. Yeah, he is. Yeah, yes, never apologize to the leftists. Rand is looking to humiliate him. Imagine if he was a Democrat. Yeah. If he was a Democrat, Paul would be perfectly fine with it. Yeah. There is a bigger pattern of Rand being a grandstanding prick. Yeah, twit. Yeah. Whoa, Jim. Yeah. I can completely understand Das Kapital or Mein Kampf. Doesn't mean I support what they say. Paul is a potato. Yeah. Yeah, I can totally understand Mao's Little Red Book. I can understand. I just know it's bullshit, and I don't agree with any of it. I think they're all, I understand Pinochet's helicopter tours. The labor guy is sitting behind Mark Wayne. Oops. Yeah. Is he in this thing? He's sitting behind him. You offered no apology, so you're jolly well fine. You want the American public. I did not say I supported it. I said I understood it. There's a difference. So, they're not going to show the other stuff. Oh no. Let's see what the Washington Post. I'm sorry, New York Post has to say about it. Never read Mein Kampf. Rand Paul eviscerates Mark Wayne Mullen. Did anyone that heard that think that Rand Paul eviscerated him? Because it didn't sound like Rand Paul eviscerated him. It sounded like Rand Paul was a histrionic twat. Tony, what's up? Oh, shit. All right. That wasn't supposed to be the bell. We already have bell. I have been drinking, have unopened milk jug in my fridge that has a sell date of early last December and a container of OJ that was open from around the same time, but not since. Still good? No. Do not drink that, Tony. Do not drink that. I heard Rand Paul whining. That's what I heard. Whinging. I heard a lot of whinging. A lot of whinging. Do not drink it. But thank you so much for the $10, Tony. With that means we are $55 away from adding an additional hour to the show. Thank you so much, Tony. Oh, no. Martain says, drink it all. Which one? Well, honestly, I would not drink the milk at all. The orange juice might be okay, maybe. Smell the orange juice. Asking for a friend. Smell the orange juice. Whinging, yes, is better. Then cry when your colon explodes. It's bug juice. It's bug juice. Yeah, it's bug juice, definitely. I like Senator Kenny's statement. He told President Trump he liked Mark Wayne Mullins and thought he would do a good job. And even if he didn't, he would say that because Mark Wayne would kick his ass. Oh, that's a good statement. That is. It's been sealed, though. Being sealed doesn't really do anything for the milk. I mean, I don't know. You could smell it. I mean, the milk's probably going to come out clumpy. Like, the orange juice might just have started to ferment and turn into alcohol. Maybe. But then all the sugars will get eaten. But then again, I don't know. I wouldn't drink it. It's not like, yogurt. Maybe it started turning into yogurt. Who knows? So this is a whole 4-minute exchange. I don't know. Maybe we'll watch this. I don't know, just to see. Yes, that's the labor guy. It is the labor guy sitting behind him.
I entered the Senate the same year that Representative Gabby Giffords was shot.
Oh, Gabby Giffords was shot. So, oh my God. So what does this have to do with anything? Seriously, he's going to go there? I entered the Senate the same year Gabby Giffords was shot. Huh. What does that have to do with anything? Did you shoot her? Did Rand Paul shoot Gabby Giffords? Did he think that when they put out the advertisement saying they were targeting districts, that somehow was that wrong too? This fucking supposed libertarian really doesn't like free speech, does he? Is he really a fucking libertarian? Do we have to listen to this more on again? I guess we don't. Hair Club for Men. Yeah.
I knew then that the state of political rhetoric was encouraging violence.
Oh my God, so he believes this fucking phony libertarian piece of shit thinks that because they put out a map saying they were targeting districts to take over, that was an attack. Seriously. Wow. I'm not going to listen to any more of this. I'm not. This guy, that right there tells me Rand Paul is nothing but a lying scumbag, and all this shit about libertarianism is all a bunch of bullshit. It's all fucking lies. All lies. All lies. All lies. Because he's blaming an advertisement by, who was it? Sarah Palin, where they tried to go after Sarah Palin. He has to blame someone for his rabid neighbor. Yeah, Mullen and the Teamster guy are friends now. Nothing he ever said has been anything of value whatsoever. I am done with the Pauls. Yeah, I still like Ron Paul. I've always liked Ron Paul. Have I heard what's in Campbell's chicken soup lately? I heard it's got like bioengineered stuff. If there's a mic around here, I just dropped mine. Raid. Hey, I got a raid. That's awesome. I love raids. Raids are a lot. Oh, wow, I got a good raid. So Rand Paul, to say that I knew when Gabby Giffords was shot that the political rhetoric was just too much because they put out an advertising saying they were going to target these districts to take the seats. That's your proof? The phony libertarian? Wow. Raid, what's up? Thanks for the raid, everybody. The people came over from the Logic raid. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It says Good Logic has raided this stream. I thank you. I really appreciate it. Hello from Logic. Samantha Katz. Thanks for having you here. We were talking a little bit about the whole Rand Paul, Mark Mullen kerfuffle on the Senate in the confirmation hearing. So, my nose is itching like crazy. So that's it. So this guy, given Paul's opposition, Mullen will face an uphill battle to secure the confirmation. I don't think so, which has 8 Republicans and 7 Democrats. The vote currently planned for Thursday. Senator Peters, the top Democrat on the panel, has also expressed reservations about Mullen helming DHS, but John Fetterman maintained he had an open mind about the senator. Another one bites the dust. Yes. Hey, what's up, Great Liquor? How you doing? Rumble flag, roll grow. Maybe Rand and the astronaut can hang around together and see Gabby. Yeah, maybe. Joe, Good Logic ran out of bacon. What up? He had bacon? They were eating bacon? I don't think they ate bacon. There's precedent for some cabinet level nominees to be discharged out of the committee and receive a floor vote, but that would require senators to meet the 60 vote threshold rather than a simple majority. Paul bellowed at the top of Wednesday's hearing that Mullen told the media I was a freaking snake. I think Rand Paul is a freaking snake. Was it a lie? I mean, I guess he's not literally a snake. He's not Fulsa Doom from, Conan the Barbarian. He doesn't turn into a snake and eat people. That's not who he is, but he's a snake because he will stab you in the back. And he clearly has opinions that the First Amendment doesn't mean what it says. Mark Wayne, mildly good looking here. A neighbor in Paul's Bowling Green, Kentucky gated community pummeled the senator outside his home in 2017, leaving Paul with 6 cracked ribs and a damaged lung. Afroman was sued by pigs. Is that bacon? Perhaps he actually does. Yes. Maybe he does turn into a snake and eat people. Oh, shit. Is he Fulsa Doom? Wow. The Republican chairman later said he had a portion of his lung removed and suffered an infection due to complications following surgery. If you dislike me so much that you approve the violence against me, could we just write it off? He never said he approved of it. Saying, I understand why your neighbor did it. Could just mean like, I understand that your neighbors are crazy, the wackadoo leftists. That they can't handle themselves and they got pissed off. On one occasion, the Republican challenged O'Brien. Oh, so here we go. So if you likes me that much, you approve the violence, you just write it off. Paul then added, before playing footage of Mullen threatening to fight Teamsters President Sean O'Brien to a 2023 Senate hearing. On that occasion, the Republican challenged O'Brien as he sat in the witness chair. Sir, if there's a time and place, you want to run your mouth, you could do 2 consenting goals. We can finish it here. Yeah, because I believe O'Brien said something like, tweeted out that he'd kick his ass or something like that. Said that he could beat him up, that he was a phony fighter and all this and that. That he'd fight him anytime, any place. That's right. He said, anytime, any place, I'll fight you. And he said, well, why right now? There's O'Brien sitting there. Mullen responded that O'Brien was currently sitting behind him as now my good friend. I was simply pointing out that some of the rules still apply to his body. For instance, dealing with 2 consenting adults is still there. That's right, it's still there. They used to do duels. If we have illegal space aliens, will Space Force deport them off the planet, a.k.a. Spice? I don't know, man. I don't know. Afroman could have a better ad campaign than these cops handed him. Now he's really bringing home the bacon. Yes, he is. Treasury Secretary Stock Percent similarly invoked the rich American's history of dueling at the highest levels last year when he nearly came to blows with the FHA director, Bill Pulte. Treasury secretaries dating back to Alexander had a history of dueling, he quipped in a September interview. They need an octagon. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. But Mullen's relationship with members on both sides of the aisle appeared to win him more support than the current Homeland Security Secretary. Yeah. Oh, look, Rand Paul is reading off a teleprompter. So all this stuff that Rand Paul is saying has all been pre-scripted and written. It's not like he's speaking from the heart. What does that make you think? Huh? How does that make you think? Does it make you think maybe Maybe somebody should hold on one second. Wow. Sorry, I had a sneeze. I didn't want to do that on camera. Speech by Grok. Yeah. GOP ears has slammed the DHS Secretary Mullen will be replacing, and recently fired Chrissy Noem for green lighting a $220 million ad campaign. Rand gives massive vibes. Yeah, Rand Paul's a new Mitt Romney. Well, they already have a new Mitt Romney. It's the clown from Utah, John Cassidy. I believe his name, right? Cassidy. I think that's the name, Cassidy. Hey, just done Soul Jinder. Great to see you. Thanks for being here. Trump also disputed that Noem had asked and received for presidential authorization. The controversy followed the fatal shootings in January of 2 citizens by immigration officers. A secretary who jumps to conclusions without the facts we saw in the case of Renee Good and Alex Preddy only worsens the situation actually makes us less safe, Peters told Mullen. This is a role where temperament matters. Oh yeah, we want good temperament. We want people to go, well, let's not jump to conclusions about these terrorists. Let's let them see. Let them pull the cord on the suicide bomb first before we call them terrorists. Is that really what they want? I challenge you to have one good news story per show. Okay, I will. I have a good news story. I do. I have one. The Michigan Democrat revealed the FBI files on a Republican senator showed he also traveled overseas to Azerbaijan and Georgia in 2021. Okay. In 2015, I was asked to train a small contingency to a certain area which was scheduled for 2016, knowing that he had met certain training qualifications that included a military survival program known as SEER training. I spoke specifically on details on the dates and the mission, and like I said, this was an official trip that is classified. He later agreed to share more details about the trip with the chairman and ranking member. So this guy knows that there was something that he did for the government that was classified. What? AARP Thunderdome? Well, could be. All right. So here's a feel-good story. Here we go. Ready? $15,000 Visa bonds are coming. And overstays are the target. That's right. The State Department is moving to require visa bonds of up to $15,000, targeting one of the most persistent enforcement gaps in the immigration system. That's right. You overstay your visa, you got to pay $15,000, and that's just to cover the cost of getting you out. According to the fact sheet released on Wednesday, the program would apply to 50 countries starting April 2nd. With certain B1 and B2 visa applicants required to post a financial bond before entering the United States. What's this? Samantha Cat says, Beta Ryan, all his feelings and making it personal. Well, that's all he does, make it personal. Like, I wonder what happened with the neighbor. There must have been something that we don't know about. Something was said, Rand did something, said something to the neighbor. Not saying he deserved it. I'm not blaming the victim. The guy should have never beat him up. But must have done something. Yeah. Richard Wharton says Rand had a couple of good hearings when he went after Fauci, but other than that, he's just a Lulbertarian. He's definitely a Lulbertarian because we played where he was accusing the target, like the whole thing that the left tried to persuade that when Sarah Palin put out the targets of the House seats they were targeting to flip, that was the reason that Gabby Giffords got shot. He's like, I came into the Senate at the same time as Gabby Giffords was, the same year that Gabby Giffords was shot. And I realized that the rhetoric from both sides was horrible and led to her being shot. That's what he believed. Wow. Paul will fall. Yeah. Visa overstays are one of the most persistent enforcement gaps in the system, occurring after entry and proving costly and difficult to police in practice. Early results are driving the expansion. The Visa bond program has already proven effective at drastically reducing the number of visa recipients. Somebody did send me something. I forgot to go get it. I'll go get it in a second. Hey, Duck Fat, what's up, everybody? For everybody else, MasterCard is way better. Everything else. Oh, okay, for everything else. Okay, I got it. Okay. Rand Paul is quite the whiny little bee. I was a little surprised he felt the need to make this all about himself. This would have been good news had they done it 64 years ago. Well, I mean, I guess you could say this is kind of like shutting the barn door after the horse escaped or shutting the gates onto the country after the illegals all came in, but this will stop new visa overstays from happening. This has to happen. It really does. The department said knowing that nearly 97% of bond travelers return home on time. Nearly 1,000 participants have gone through the program so far. Almost all of them complied. A compliance rate like that is rare in immigration enforcement, where overstays have long been one of the hardest violations to track and resolve in practice. Well, yeah, because once they're in here on a visa, and then it's hard to find them. They kind of blend in. You know, they get hired by police departments and stuff like that. Toothpaste out of the tube, yes. That stands in contrast to prior years when tens of thousands of visitors from these same countries overstayed their visas, creating a backlog that enforcement agencies have not been able to keep up with. This latest expansion adds 12 countries, including Cambodia, Ethiopia, Georgia, Grenada, Lesotho, Mauritius. Is that like Mauritania? Mauritius? I don't know. Mongolia, Mozambique, Nicaragua, Papua New Guinea, the Seychelles, and Tunisia. Once implemented, the program will cover 50 nations in total, most of which have been identified as higher risks for visa overstays. Don't worry, Jim. Don't cry over spilt aliens. Bond amounts vary depending on the applicant and the consular officer's discretion. Travelers may be required to post $5,000, $10,000, or up to $15,000 before the visa is issued. The requirement is calibrated to risk, not applied uniformly. Well, that's good. Apply it to risk. The shift is in timing. Instead of relying primarily on enforcement after someone has already entered the country, the bond requirement moves part of that pressure forward. Yes. Just tag them. Yeah, tag them with like an ear tag. That way everybody knows they're here on a visa. We can get them to wear like an armband or something, letting us know. Implant tracking chips. I don't know if we could physically implant a tracking chip. Maybe we can make them wear a sign or something. It says, I snuck in. Please let me stay. Attaching a financial consequence before travel even begins. It shifts enforcement from something that happens after entry to something required before it. You can literally buy a visa with the MasterCard. Yes, literally. Literally. That change is not just procedural, it's financial. The Department of State is saving U.S. taxpayers up to $800 million per year that would otherwise be required to remove these aliens who overstay. In a system where enforcement is limited by manpower and backlog, reducing the need for detention and court processing does more than streamline operations. It changes the cost structure behind enforcement itself. What happens if they are broke? We don't get any money back. No, the money is a bond they have to put up. The money's a bond they have to put up, Martin. So before they can get the visa to come in, they have to get a bond. So they have to pay the money in advance. Like they don't have to put up the 15 grand, let's say, but they would have to buy a bond from a bondsman. So they'd have to put up like 10%. And then the government gets the money from the bond company, and they can use that money to pay for finding the people and deporting them. And also the bond company would be looking for the people to get their bond back. You would actually have, they come in free right now. Yeah, no, but now it's starting where they're going to charge the bond. So they're going to have to pay a bond to come in. And then you wouldn't actually have to think about it. What happens when a bond, a bail bondsman gives a bond to people to get out of jail and they skip out? The bail bondsman has to go find them because it's their money. So the same thing will be happening now with overstays. Bail bondsmen will be going out searching for people that violated the bond so that they can get their bond money back. So the government won't even have to really look for the people. They'll just get found by bail bondsmen who want to get their money back for turning them in. And then they give them to the government, let them know. The government deports them. Easy peasy. We don't spend a ton of money searching for illegal aliens that overstayed visas. Bail bondsmen will handle it for us. Leering Center immigration bonds opening soon. Big Dog the Bounty Hunter finds them when they skip. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think it's a good idea. Personally, I think it's a good idea. We could have the dog look for them. Big FFS. What's up with FFS? What happened? What's going on? I didn't see. I don't see him in the chat. I don't see Cynic in the chat. FFS. Oh, Dig, for fuck's sake. Okay, I get it. I thought you were talking about Cynic FFS podcast. Never mind. My bad. Typo. Okay. All right. In a system where enforcement is limited by manpower and backlog, reducing the need for detention and court processing does more than streamline operations. It changes the cost structure behind enforcement itself. Removing someone who overstays a visa costs an average of more than $18,000, according to the department. When multiplied across tens of thousands of cases, the cost of noncompliance adds up quickly. More than 44,000 visitors from countries now included in the program failed to leave in a recent year alone. That gap between entry and enforcement is what the policy is designed to close. Martin says, thank you. Was suffering from insomnia, but discussing politics puts me to sleep. Thank you and good night. Well, I wasn't really discussing politics. This isn't politics. This is immigration enforcement. The program shifts how enforcement works. Instead of trying to locate individuals after they disappear, it focuses on accountability before they arrive. The State Department has indicated the list of countries may continue to grow, with future additions tied to overstay rates, and broader immigration risk factors. For now, the early results are doing most of the work. High compliance, lower projected costs, and a system that places responsibility on the applicant before arrival rather than on the government after the fact. As long as liberal biased bonding agents aren't hired to recover the bond, well, that's up to the bond agents. The bond, they're going to lose the bond. That's the thing. The bond agents, if they don't collect the people, they're going to lose the bond. The company's going to go out of business. You can't keep losing bonds as a bond agent. That's why they send, like, one of the greatest movies, really, that Robert De Niro was ever in was a movie called Midnight Run with Charles Grodin, where he's basically chasing down this bond for, I think it was called The Count, or The Duke, or something like that was the name. Was it Duke or The Count? Anyway, chasing this guy down because he was a witness on a bond and want to get him. Jim is telling you the news by reading it to us. Would you prefer AI? I don't know. AI will take my job away. AP just comes out and says U.S. demands bonds of up to $15,000 for visa applications from 12 more countries. Effective April 2nd, passport holders from Cambodia, yes, we know this, according to a notice posted on the State Department website. So we'll pull this up real quick just so everyone can see it. Countries subject to visa bonds, updated March 18th, 2026. The Department of State has identified nationals from these countries as needing visa bonds. Implementation dates are in parentheses. So starting in January, so they got to give you a certain amount of time. All right. Yeah, Grodin couldn't fly. Yeah, it was a great movie. It was all about this stuff. So this is what I foresee happening. That you will have people who gave out the bonds that are going to have to go find the people so that they don't lose their money. So Algeria and Angola, Antigua, Barbuda. I thought it was Barbuda. These are all started in January of this year. So these people have already had to start paying bonds as of January. There's probably like a time, like they have to give some notice and time for people to get the bonds and stuff. So that's probably why these other countries don't start until April 1st. Because if they try to do it, I'm surprised they haven't gotten sued by people claiming that this is a violation of the Administrative Procedures Act or something like that. I prefer critical thinkers. Well, thank you. So then Benin, Botswana, Burundi, Cabo Verde, all begins on January 21st. And then you got Cambodia, April 2nd. Then you back to Central African Republic, January 1st. Cote d'Ivoire, January 21st. Cuba, January 21st. Wait, Cuba, January 21st. I thought we just let Cubans come. Dominica, Ethiopia. Look at this. Fiji, Gabon, Gambia. Gambia, it's been that way since October of 2025. You got Georgia, Grenada, Guinea-Bissau, the Kyrgyz Republic, Lesotho, Malawi, Mauritania, Mauritius, Mongolia, Mozambique, Namibia, Nepal, Nicaragua, Nigeria, Papua New Guinea, Sao Tome and Principe, Senegal, Seychelles, Tajikistan, Tanzania, Togo, Tonga, Tunisia, Turkmenistan, Tuvalu, Uganda, Vanuatu, I think it is, Venezuela, Zambia, Zimbabwe. Visa bonds required are outlined in this section. So there's sequel meetings, Grand Tour, Pedo Tour, yes. Okay there, yes, maybe. I don't need an anchorman reading whatever is written, but someone who can sniff out what is worthy of attention, like Nick Shirley, spelling may verily. And I didn't leer that yet. Well, I try my best. Says any citizen or national traveling on a passport issued by one of these countries who is found otherwise eligible for a visa must post a bond for 5, 10, or 15K. The amount is determined at the time of the visa interview. The applicant must also submit Homeland Security Form I-352. They must agree to terms of the bond. This requirement applies regardless of place of the application. So that means that what this means is if your visa is expiring and you're in the U.S. and you go and apply for a new visa to stay in the U.S. and not have to leave, you're going to have to pay the bond. A bond does not guarantee visa issuance. If someone pays fees without a consular officer's direction, the fees will not be returned. Required ports of entry. As a condition of bond, all visa holders who have posted a visa bond must enter and exit the U.S. through a designated ports of entry listed below. Not doing this might lead to a denied entry or a departure that is not properly recorded. So what that means, if you leave and we don't know you left, you might not get your bond money back. My dog had bad hips too. She almost made it to 17. Oh, man. That's rough. That's rough. Sorry to hear your dog passed. My dog's over here itching and scratching, like Itchy and Scratchy from The Simpsons. Gypsy says, well, I just leered that I have never heard of 11 of those countries. I feel dumb. Well, don't. They're always making up new countries. They're always adding new ones, removing other ones, changing names. Changing names is how they like to do. That's how they like to do. They like to change the names. That's how they like to do. All commercial ports of entries, including CBP pre-clearance locations, visa bondholders may not use charter, air, general aviation, land, or sea ports of entry. Visa bond terms are set forth in the bond form thing. So we're not going to read all this. We're going to jump to another story because, we are actually, we're only $55 away from adding an additional hour. I'm probably going to stream another half hour or so. We'll see how long we go, unless we hit the goal, and then we'll add an hour. So just so everyone knows. So here we go. This might be considered good news to some people. James Bond. Yes. Iranian intelligence minister who bragged about arresting Mossad agents responsible for eliminations killed in overnight strikes in Tehran. A TSA job is not in my filter if there is a test. Okay. Future, not filter. Oh. Concern for kids, concern about PDF, sure, but action speaks louder than words. Yes, definitely. Mm-hmm. On Wednesday, Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, announced that Iran's intelligence minister, who bragged about arresting those responsible for eliminating Iranian leadership, was killed in overnight strikes in Tehran. I thought this was reported by Iranians, too. In 2022, the U.S. Treasury and State Department designated Khatib for serious human rights abuses in direct response to a crackdown following Mahsa Amini's death. Amini died from injuries sustained at the hands of police after her arrest for improper wearing of a hijab. So this is a guy who beat a woman or instructed someone to beat a woman to death for not properly wearing a hijab. So good riddance. Good riddance. Not too intelligent if you didn't know about that one. About what one? There's one thing about wars. I've learned a lot of these countries I never heard about. Didn't even know they existed. Yeah. I feel like a fur missile begging to be let off a leash. Wow. Yeah. He was sanctioned alongside the morality police and other officials for complicity in violence against protesters. IDF shared an announcement on Telegram. Overnight, Israeli Air Force acted on IDF intelligence, eliminated the Iranian terrorist regime Minister of Intelligence, Ismail Khatib, in a targeted strike in Tehran. Khatib has been appointed Minister of Intelligence by Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei in 2021. In his role, Khatib oversaw the Iranian Ministry of Intelligence, the Iranian terrorist regime's primary intelligence organization, which also played a key role in supporting the regime's repression and terrorist activities. Iranian Ministry of Intelligence possesses advanced intelligence capabilities overseeing surveillance, espionage, and the execution of covert operations worldwide, particularly against the State of Israel and Iranian citizens. FAFO asked the Iranian leadership, oh, wait, you can't. They can't. And you can ask them, but I don't think they're going to respond. You know, like they say, dead men tell no tales. As the intelligence minister, Khatib played a significant role during the recent protests throughout Iran, both with regard to the arrest and killing of protesters, as well as shaping the regime's intelligence assessment. Similarly, he operated against Iranian citizens during the Mahsa Amini protests. In addition to his activities targeting the State of Israel, Khatib led the Ministry of Intelligence terrorist activities against Israel and American targets around the world, as well as activities directed against targets within Israel during Operation Roaring Lion. Khatib previously held several key roles with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, the IRGC, primarily holding intelligence positions where he served as a significant source of knowledge. His elimination joins dozens of other eliminations of senior commanders of the Iranian terrorist regime through the operation, including key senior figures in the Ministry of Intelligence, and significantly degrading the regime's command and control structures. Ishmael. In a recent interview before being eliminated himself, Khatib bragged about arresting Mossad agents in Iran who were responsible for eliminations there. I guess they missed one. Must have missed one. Yes. Yeah. Bring your own Ouija board. Yeah, definitely. You'd have to bring a Ouija board. You have to do a, seance, as they say. Seance. Mm-hmm. He was eliminated. I don't know.
عملیاتی که وزارت اطلاعات در دولت
All right, well, we're not going to listen to that. So he dead. He dead. He dead. He dead. And then another one. Epoch Times just says Israel says it killed this guy, but I thought it was confirmed by them. Call me that. What's up, Rocky? I can see you. It says it has not been confirmed by Iran, follows a series of strikes. So this guy's hasn't been confirmed. But then we have this one that was confirmed. This says Iran confirms brutal leader Ali Larijani killed after U.S.-Israeli airstrikes. Hey, what's up, old school? $2.93. Great to see you. Thank you for the $5. It says, what happened to Joe? He looks so different. Kidding. Hiya, Jim. Well, nice to see you. He's shaved, and I think it's just growing back in a little bit. Any news on the emergency meeting, the Saudis after tonight's missile attacks? I did. What's up, Rocky? Great to see you. That's a very sophisticated joke involving fake black battle rapper. Oh, okay. Didn't know. The rumor is Trump offered Iran $5 a barrel. Oh, $5 a barrel. That's a good deal. I would have took it. Thank you for the 5. With that means we are just $50 away from adding an extra hour to the show. Just $50 away. Just 50. That's all. A little fitty. We didn't fly to most of those countries, at least not officially. And we don't. So, my nose is itchy like crazy. I had some spicy stuff. What's this about here? So this is going to be Netanyahu confirming it?
ג'וני זה הבוס של משמרות המהפכה, שזה...
I'm not going to listen to this. I don't listen to stuff that I can't understand. Iranian state media confirmed the country's de facto leader was killed in an airstrike on Tuesday. Ali Larijani, Supreme National Security Council, has been martyred. He's been martyred. Martyred. It's like Maten, like martyred. Who's widely seen as the Islamic Republic's second in command, official serving as the de facto ruler since Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed on February 28th. Israeli military defense announced that his death was Tuesday following an overnight strike. Laraj and the base commander were eliminated last night and have joined Khamenei, the head of the Annihilation Program, along with those eliminated from the axis of evil, into the depths of hell. State media did not immediately confirm his death and instead published a handwritten note by him commemorating sailors killed in the U.S. attack whose funeral was expected on Tuesday. The latest statement from Iranian media confirms that the latest killing of Iran's top leaders since the war with the U.S. and Israel began. Hey, look at this. Charles and Company gifted one. Jim tells you member. Thank you, Carol. Thank you so much. Wow, it is member. It's March for March. It's membership. The March for members. Membership March. Let's see, and that says Dog Backwards received a gift from membership from Charles and Company. Thank you so much. You guys are so great. I really appreciate it. And with that means we are now just $44 away, just $44 away from adding an additional extra hour to the show. I don't know if many people who came over from Joe don't know how I work it here. The way the show works is that we go for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, somewhere around there. And then for every $100 that comes in total across all platforms, YouTube, Super Chats, Rumble Rants, becoming members, gifting memberships on YouTube or Rumble or Twitch or Kick, also Cash App, PayPal, Super Tips, and Coffee, Ko-Fi. Those links are pinned in the chat, and also the QR codes are posted. I add it all up when we hit 100. I add an extra hour, and the show could be 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 6, 8, however long you want it to be. If you want it longer, when the 100 comes in, that's how we go. Oh, Charles with another gifted membership. Wow. Thank you so much. That means we are now just $38 away, just $38 away from adding an extra hour to the show. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. Let's see who got it. Here, let's see. And that second one was Just Dawn. Soulless Ginger received a gifted membership from Charles. Well, thank you so much. Yes, thank you, Charles. Along with Khamenei and Lajani, the war has also claimed Ali Shamakhani, the head of the Iran's National Defense Council, Mohammed Pakpour, the commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, and the Rajani's death comes after he threatened President Trump last week, telling the president, "Watch out for yourself, lest you be eliminated." When you get it. And Rajani was among the 10 Islamic Republic officials who had a $10 million bounty placed on their head. I wonder if that means the $10 million, does the guy who pulled the trigger on the bomb get the $10 million? Oh, look at this. Tony comes in with 1776. Thank you so much, Tony. He says, "I am proud of my brothers and sisters in uniform that continue to carry the flag and our principles as I once did." Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you so much. And then we got $5 from Marjorie. Says, "My contribution. My contribution." That's so much. Thank you so much. With that, that means we are now, let's see, that's, I'm just going to call that $18 and then $5. So that means we are, $15 away, folks. Just $15 away from adding an extra hour to the show. Just $15. That's it. Just $15. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you. It should go to the unit's bar fund. It should, right? It should go to whoever the unit was, like pay for all their stuff. What's it say? Just now, Neurodivergent 1 on locals sent $15. Thank you so much. So that means
Tactical assessment. Red Chinese victory. Impossible. America will never fall to communist invasion. Communism is the very definition of failure.
Shut the...
Oh, wait. Damn it. Wow, that's awesome, man. My soundboard got all screwed up, so thank you all so much. With that, that means we are now we hit the goal. That means we are now $100 away from a second additional hour of the show. Thank you all so much. It's greatly appreciated. I will go in Life is a Beach. Yes, it's a win. That's right. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to create a new goal. Thank you all so much. You're great people. Awesome. We'll go in here, do this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, that, and the other thing. Get this up here. I will want to point out we have 217 people watching on YouTube right now. We only have 73 likes. So if you would be so kind, if you're over there on the YouTubes, if you please would just hit the like button if you like it. It would be great. I'd really appreciate it. As I set up this new goal, I'm going to start another goal for 1 hour. 20 super chats, $5 or greater. All right. Please hit the like button. It would be really, 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 really greatly appreciated. We are currently $100 away from a second additional hour of the show. Thank you all so much. Goal is live and ready to go. And, if we could get that, maybe at least 50% would be great. Now we're at 80. Jim, do you know the story about the meteor hitting Cleveland? I saw a story the other night about several meteors hitting a bunch of like different coming in. I didn't know it hit something. They exploded. Are you saying, Nixie, are you saying that there was damage? Because I thought all the explosions happened in the atmosphere, like they didn't actually hit the ground. If there is a story of something hitting the ground or something, send me, post a link on Rumble. I will pull that up. I will pop that right up. Let me look real quick here too. Where is... pull up real quick. Let me see. Someone says they sent me something. Someone said they sent me a. I swear someone sent me a story. Someone said they sent me something. I don't see it. I don't know where they said they sent it. No. Anyway. And then it just says Iran confirms that security official Lajarani was killed. And then we got some stuff about Trump saying Iran's been decimated.
Infrastructure across the capital city of Tehran and 2 other cities in Iran. Israel's prime minister says he's hoping the people of Iran will rise up and overthrow the regime. Meanwhile, President Trump repeats that the risks for biased media coverage are graver than ever amid Operation Epic Fury.
Just loud bangs and fragments on the ground.
Good evening. I'm Jack Bradley. President Trump declaring Iran.
We had to do a little excursion, if you don't mind.
NTD's Washington correspondent Mariotsu brings us more from the White House.
We had to do a little excursion, if you don't mind. A little excursion to take care of nuclear weaponry in the hands of maniacs. But other than that, in a couple of weeks, and won't be much longer, it's moving along fast. We're way ahead of schedule.
President Trump declaring that the U.S. has, quote, wiped out the Iranian regime's Navy, Air Force, and top leadership.
Everything is gone. Their leaders are gone.
That's as Israel announces Iran's top security official, Ali Larijani, was killed in overnight airstrikes, along with the commander of Iran's besieged forces, both responsible for the mass slaughter of civilian demonstrators.
Their actual top was killed yesterday, along with somebody else who was responsible for the killing, the man that was responsible for the killing of 32,000 people over the last 2 weeks. He was in charge of the killing of protesters. It's an evil group.
And as the Trump administration continues to condemn media coverage of the strikes in Iran, from, quote, parroting the Iranian regime's propaganda to airing uninterrupted segments of Iranian state TV to pushing the narrative, there's been, quote, mixed messaging or internal contradictions about the objectives of Operation Epic Fury. President Trump declares coverage both at home and abroad as undermining the U.S.'s decisive wins against the regime.
The reporting of the war was unbelievable. We have decimated that country. And if you watch BBC, it's almost like they're fighting us to a draw. They're not fighting us to a draw. It was very inaccurate news.
The president warning that biased media coverage presents graver risks than ever, with serious national security implications, declaring that even the term fake news no longer suffices as a description.
I came up with it, but it's no longer accurate. It really is. It's corrupt, fraudulent news. It really is. It's fraudulent. It's not just fake. It's beyond fake. It's really criminal what they do.
This comes as President Trump says that the U.S. no longer needs or desires the help of NATO countries. As he says, quote, they don't want to get involved with our military operation against the terrorist regime of Iran, despite the fact that almost every country strongly agreed with what we are doing.
All right. Well, I don't want to play all this. So President Trump said they decimated it. And then we got this story, which I think is important. We're going to get back to some more Iran stuff in a minute. It's further down, but I don't know. So a federal judge refuses to recuse himself from Minnesota DHS and ICE cases. This is a judge whose daughter works for immigration rights stuff. His wife's involved in that stuff and clearly has you prefer obliterated. Me too. Technically, the inverse of decimated would be more accurate. So Judge Jeffrey Bryan's wife leads Minnesota's lawsuit against the same immigration enforcement operation. Yeah, so his wife works for Ellison and is suing over all this stuff, and the judge is ruling on the cases. It kind of seems like maybe he should be not involved. FAFO gloves are coming off. Now we're begging for the monster the media portrayed. Yeah. Decimation was a punishment for your own troops. A federal judge in Minnesota declined to step aside of immigration-related case despite a conflict of interest challenge tied to his spouse's legal work. Yeah. U.S. Department of Justice plans to appeal the judge's order, which called the government's motion improper, untimely, and lacking merit. Last week, the DOJ formally moved to disqualify U.S. District Judge Jeffrey Bryan, arguing his impartiality could reasonably be questioned because his wife serves as Minnesota Solicitor General under Keith Ellison and is leading a separate lawsuit against federal immigration enforcement actions at issue in Bryan's courtroom. Yeah, liberals scream no kings, but are fine with unfair, biased judges. Oh, yeah. Yes, they are. In its filing, the DOJ emphasized that federal law requires recusal when a judge's impartiality might reasonably be questioned, noting the standard is meant to avoid the appearance of partiality, noting that public perceptions of partiality can undermine confidence in the courts. That's what's going on right now. Everybody is saying these judges are all biased and corrupt and crooked. And, all we get is the Chief Justice Roberts saying, people stop saying mean things about these judges. These judges, they're above reproach. No, they're not. No, they're not. My people, they understand decimated means a tenth and was derived from the Roman punishment decimatato, brings me to tears. Yes, well. Yeah, people don't understand, so. Yeah, Judge Bryan, seen in his 2023 confirmation hearing, has declined to recuse himself. Yeah, this is one of the judges that Chuck Schumer talked about, the 250 judges that they got installed to fight Trump. This is one of the judges. The motion pointed to a significant overlap between the habeas cases before Bryan and the state's lawsuit led by his wife, both of which challenged the legality of Operation Metro Surge. According to the filing, both cases allege that federal agents conducted warrantless arrests, engaged in racial profiling, terrorized and assaulted and harassed individuals. That's a double entendre. Yes, it is. The DOJ stressed that the issue is not whether Bryan is personally biased, but whether a reasonable observer could question his neutrality given the circumstances. Court must consider whether a public might reasonably question his impartiality. I question it. I think everyone listening here questions it. He needs to recuse himself. He actually needs to be fucking locked up, in my opinion. That's what I'm saying. Lock him up. The department also noted that Bryan did not disclose his marriage relationship to the parties, arguing that disclosure is a prerequisite for any waiver of potential conflicts under federal law. That's right. He tried to hide it because they used different last names. And then people found out, and he's like, "Oh, well, you should have brought it up sooner. You should have done a background search on everybody." Judge Bryan denied the recusal request, allowing himself to remain on the case. The DOJ has indicated it will appeal the decision, setting up a potential higher court to review of recusal standards and their application in politically charged immigration litigation. Dispute comes amid broader legal battles over Operation Metro Surge, which the plaintiffs claim involved unconstitutional enforcement tactics. Really? Unconstitutional enforcement tactics. Yeah. And SCOTUS keeps leaving every window open every time they close the door. Yeah, they do. While federal officials are defended as a lawful exercise of immigration authority. I mean, what are they supposed to do? Because this is the type of shit that this guy's doing. All right? This is what he's doing. All right? Julie Kelly, who's a great follower over there on Twitter, says, I read a lot of batshit crazy court transcripts in my day, but I just received the transcript of March 3rd contempt hearing before Biden appointee Judge Jeffrey Bryan in Minneapolis. Bryan is desperate to hold Trump officials in contempt for, wait for it, not immediately returning personal items to illegal immigrants detained by ICE, but then, of course, ordered released by Minneapolis judges. Before I get to the details of parts of the transcript, it's important to note that Judge Bryan is married to Liz Kramer. She's the Solicitor General of the state of Minnesota, appointed to that role by Minnesota AG Keith Ellison. She is a party in numerous lawsuits against the Trump administration, including related to immigration and ICE. They should automatically disqualify her husband from handling lawsuits of similar nature. But alas, not only does Liz Kramer work for Ellison, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz just appointed Kramer to a plum position. Nothing to see here. Yeah. She's like, I'm proud of, this is his wife, I'm proud of my work to help protect mayors and the sovereignty of Minnesota and the safety of residents by suing ICE. So this is the guy, judge's wife. Yeah, no, he got to recuse himself. He's got to recuse himself. Yeah. Minnesota Governor Keith Ellison announced the appointment of Liz Kramer to the Commission on Uniform State Laws. She will serve the remainder of Speaker Emeritus Melissa Hortman's term. Kramer is the Solicitor General for the state of Minnesota, where she defends the constitutionality of state laws and represents Minnesota State Court. So this is in federal courts. Well, this is the person, all right? Judges are demanding that immigration officials immediately return personal items such as cash, cell phones, jewelry, driver's license, work permits, passports, clothing, other identification, according to Judge Bryan. Now, keep in mind, many J6ers, and I assume they will post here to back me up, are still awaiting the return of items stolen out of their homes, cars, garages, and offices during the FBI raids. In fact, a J6er texted me yesterday asking if I could help get his passport back. But some judges, including Bryan, are not only unlawfully releasing illegals under claims they are entitled to bond hearings. This was overturned by the Fifth Circuit recently, not binding on Minnesota, but very likely the last word by SCOTUS, but setting unreasonable deadlines for the return to Minnesota, release, status reports, demands for return of their property. Yeah. Don't mind me, just another disgruntled veteran. Yeah, bring back tar and feathering and stocks and see how public behavior can be controlled by the population. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, they think they're the new priests. Yeah, that's what they think. That's how they do. Bryan kicked off the fireworks by noting that the unusual nature of such a hearing. Rosen and Fuller are prosecutors at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Minnesota. We are here because I issued an order compelling the appearance of Mr. Rosen and Mr. Fuller and at least one unnamed representative from respondents to appear and to show cause why the court should not hold each of them or any of them in contempt for failing to comply with court orders requiring respondents to immediately return all property. So immediately, right now, go give it back to them. That's not how it works. Yeah, tar and feathering would be great. Really would. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge a unique aspect. It's not often that you have a combined hearing in federal court, and it's not often that we have a contempt hearing like this in federal court. It's an extraordinary measure. And I say this because I think it means we have to handle today's hearing a little differently than we might otherwise have a single case. So much to cover here, but U.S. Attorney Dan Rosen off the bat confronted Ryan about smearing him in his opening statement and noted that Judge Bryan issued 52 orders in one day on February 20th, related mostly, I believe, to the return of personal belongings. Bryan quickly jumped to the sharp, accused Trump officials of stealing the items. Yeah. He's like, employees of the respondents are not entitled to steal from people that they detain. You're not making that argument, right? Your Honor, with all due respect, I don't believe that's an inappropriate question from the court. Well, if asked the questions, I'd like answers. No. Do you believe the property should be returned? As a general proposition, yes. Like these fucking judges. Sorry. Oh, man, no. What is going on? How did I lose this now? These judges, I swear. An additional layer of supervision. I don't think that's necessary. Well, I don't think that's an additional layer of supervision is necessary. So this guy wants to install people to go like follow him around. He egregiously asks Bryan. Hold on. So Bryan puts Tara Rich from the St. Paul ICE on field office on the stand. She's responsible for custody management. Bryan grills her and allows the attorneys representing the illegals to cross-examine her about chain of custody rules. Government concedes items were lost in 2 cases will reimburse for the loss. It's on the bedpost overnight. Yeah, Trump might not be a king, but these judges should think they are. The strength of government comes from the governed. That's why we refuse to acquiesce our first 2 amendments. The first protects the second, and the second defends the first. Yeah. Judge Bryan then put Rosen and Fuller on the stand. That's exactly what Boasberg is fighting hard to do, by the way. Bryan egregiously asked in public about the inner workings and supervisory structure at the U.S. Attorney's Office. This is so far beyond his authority, it's hard to put into words. Pure conjecture that this has nothing to do with finding a fact for legit content. Under the SCOTUS decision of Ward v. Village of Monroeville, judges cannot act as prosecutors or investigators or put witnesses on the stand on their own motion. Prosecutorial functions both and must fully separate from prosecutors, as prosecutors must be judges. Interesting, thank you. Yeah, I mean, this is not what a judge is supposed to do. Like, this is beyond ridiculous. It really is. But then you got this, right? Because you got Roberts is more bothered by Trump's attacks on judges than judges' attacks on the Constitution. This is what's going on. Does he want to explain this picture? Oh, look, Justice Roberts having fun at Epstein's Island. Oh, wow. Is that Roberts? Wow. Wow, is that Roberts? Massive lawfare is a strategy employed by the Demon Rats Resistant 2.0 movement. Yeah, it is. That it is. Yeah. If anyone evoking personal hostility, it's rogue judges allowing their animus towards Trump to steer the outcome of cases before them. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts is back in the news after publicly commenting on hostility towards federal judges. I've got a lot of hostility towards federal judges. A lot. The remarks came on Tuesday when the Chief Judge was interviewed by Senior District Judge Lee Rosenthal at Rice University event. During her line of questioning, Rosenthal noted Roberts' past acknowledgement that public criticism comes with the territory of being a judge. She then asked him how he handles such critiques of the Supreme Court or his judicial opinions. The Bush 43 appointee began his answer by recognizing that judges aren't flawless and that criticisms of their work can be very much healthy. What's garnering attention is the next part in which he said the problem that occasionally arises when criticism moves from focus on legal analysis to personalities. Does he think that Boasberg's personality makes him an asshole? I mean, what's going on here? You see, from all over, there's not just any one political perspective on this. It's more directed in a personal way, and frankly, that can be actually quite dangerous. Judges around the country work very hard to get it right. I don't think they do. Who thinks they're working to get it right? They're working to get the thing they want done, what they want. That's what they're doing. But if they don't get it right, their opinions are subject to criticism. No. It doesn't matter if they get it right or wrong or whatever. Their decisions are always subject to criticism. We live in a fucking democratic republic where everyone is representative of what the voters want. Even these judges are answerable to the public. The public can say, we want them gone, pressure the politicians to impeach them and get rid of them if they make decisions that we hate that much. And enough people put enough pressure on the politicians, they'll have to get rid of the judges. But they're all subject to criticism. They're not free from criticism just because they think they got it right. Because some people might not. Always subject to criticism. That's just the way it is. It's dangerous. And it's got to stop. Well, so did he say that when Chuck Schumer got up on the steps and said, Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, you're going to reap the whirlwind. We're going to come after you. Was that? What's this? Maya Gindi says, Rumble, Freemason, Hitler, and EVA investigation. Ooh. Roberts doesn't see that they want both legislature from the bench and no executive authority from the bench. Yeah. Chief Justice Roberts amid President Trump's criticism. Personally directed hostility is dangerous. It's got to stop.
In your 2024 year-end report on the judiciary, you wrote that criticism comes with the territory for judges and justices, and that it can be healthy. You've talked about the criticisms that your predecessors encountered. How do you handle criticism of your court or your opinions today?
Well, it does come with the territory. Often, when any of us issue an opinion, there's often a dissent. Usually not, but I mean, most opinions, or more opinions than anything else, are unanimous. And that's you get used to the criticism right away. And it can very much be healthy. We don't believe that we're, flawless in any way. And it's important that our decisions are subjected to scrutiny, and they are. The problem sometimes is that the criticism can move from a focus on legal analysis to personalities. And you see from all over, I mean, not just any one political perspective on it, that it's more directed in a personal way, and that, frankly, can be actually quite dangerous. Judges around the country work very hard to get it right, and if they don't, their opinions are subject to criticism. But personally directed hostility is dangerous, and it's got to stop.
It's very much part of our lives these days, and on behalf of trial judges everywhere, I want to personally thank you, because while we know that you may not always agree with us, we always know that you have our backs.
Oh, even when they ignore you and they don't do what you say, you have their backs. Wow, that's very interesting. Wow. Yeah. Babbler, cultist. Yeah. What's this say? Friggin' test of pushing prison runs on douches. Yes, that's the way I look at it. Please hit the like button, people. Come on. It's like 85 likes only. Just a video link. Ignore it. Okay. If these people can and ah so much, I don't think they should be criticized. Yeah. Well. So while Roberts went out of his way to both sides his comments, and neither he nor Rosenthal mentioned him by name, it's hard not to see the Chief Justice's remark as a partial rebuke to Donald Trump. Since returning to office, the 47th president has regularly condemned activist lower court judges issuing overreaching blocks on his policies. His previous calls to impeach Obama-appointed D.C. District Judge Boasberg for his outrageous conduct on the bench prompted pushbacks from Roberts last year. While Roberts may believe that his latest defense of judges is the judiciary's best interest, the Chief Justice is completely missing the forest for the trees. The primary reason there's even a discussion about criticisms is that too many of them have chosen to make decisions based on partisan objectives rather than what the Constitution and law calls for. Put another way, it's a pseudo-event that these judicial activists created themselves. That's right. He's giving the activist judges notice that he thinks what they are doing is just trying to get things right. Yeah. The easiest question to answer would be who it actually was. Yeah, the picture, that's what they could say. No, this was this person. It wasn't him. I mean, somebody named John Roberts, because that's on the flight logs, John Roberts. So more to the point, if anyone's been evoking personally directed hostility in these disputes, it's the rogue judges allowing their clear animus towards Trump to steer the outcome of cases before them. Not a week seems to go by without one of these judges issuing a far-reaching injunction on behalf of left-wing activists attempting to stop the president's policy agenda. Unsurprisingly, many of their orders come with little sound reasoning, contain partisan digs at the president, and run afoul of the Supreme Court's guidance, and most importantly, the Constitution. Yes, the left is an agnostic cult. It pretends to have answers. That's being the idiots on board. Yes, definitely. Taken collectively, such actions have spawned a nationwide judicial coup in which lower court judges have usurped separation of powers by indiscriminately policing the actions of other branches. Well, technically, like I've always made the argument that district court judges, even the appellate court judges, are not part of a co-equal branch. They're part of the judiciary, but the co-equal branch of our government is the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is co-equal to the Congress and the executive. That's how it works. Those are the three branches. But as the Constitution lays out, there is one judicial branch of our government is one Supreme Court. That's it. It doesn't say and all these other courts. Like, does that mean that the administration court, is that a co-equal branch of government? Does that mean bankruptcy court is a co-equal branch of government? Does that mean that every one of the, 5,000 judges that sit on magistrate judges or district court judges or all them, they're the same as the president. So we have this whole thing of nothing can happen. Robert's point about personally directed hostility towards judges does hold some weight, however. It's not just cut and dry he makes it out to be. Many of the actual threats against the judiciary have overwhelmingly come from America's left. It was Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer who took the Supreme Court steps in 2020 to ominously warn Kavanaugh and Gorsuch that they would pay a price and wouldn't know what hit them if they didn't rule on abortion-related cases the way he wanted, a move which Roberts, to his credit, rebuked. It was left-wing activists who showed up at the homes of Supreme Court justices to intimidate them into upholding Roe v. Wade after its Dobbs draft decision was leaked. It was left-wing nutjob who tried to assassinate Kavanaugh in his home, where him and his daughter and wife lives. It was a radical pro-abortion group that encouraged its members to target Amy Coney Barrett's church and children. These kind of egregious threats have continued to persist years after the Dobbs release. Last year, a Michigan Democrat Senate candidate fantasized at a campaign stop about hurling beers at Kavanaugh and Barrett if given the chance. And just last month, Justice Clarence Thomas was forced to deliver remarks at an American University event virtually after a reported security threat jeopardized his and attendees' safeties. The list goes on and on. Whereas the left openly embraces threats against conservative judges for the crime of acting like judges, the right criticizes leftist judges for acting like activists. Which brings us back to Roberts and rogue judges. It's understandable why Roberts instinctively wants to defend judges against what he perceives as unfair and personal criticisms. He's an institutionalist, and as Chief Justice, his views as his responsibility to stand up for the judiciary's credibility. But the fact remains the greatest danger to the judicial branch's credibility today isn't coming from right-wing critics. It's coming from the judiciary itself. When judges abandon proper jurisprudence to achieve partisan outcomes, people lose faith in the judiciary to operate as a trustworthy branch of government. Fifth Circuit Judge James Ho all but predicted as much in a recent Law Review article. Acknowledging America's ongoing judicial crisis, he wrote, "If the American people can't expect the judiciary to stay in its lane, then federal judges shouldn't expect the American people to follow them." That's right. You can't get rid of judges as a design fault at its worst and not a bug at its worst. Yeah. Given their reliance on others to enforce their judgments, judges would be wise to heed that advice. So what do we think? Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. All right, here we go. All right. U.S. fires 5,000-pound bombs on Iranian sites near the Strait of Hormuz. James Ho is based. Yes, he is. U.S. Central Command said the strikes targeted Iranian anti-ship cruise missiles along Iran's coastline. U.S. military said on March 17th that it carried out strikes on hardened Iranian missile sites near the Strait of Hormuz using multiple 5,000-pound deep penetrator munitions. Central Command said in a post that the strike struck Iranian anti-ship cruise missiles stationed along Iran's coastline that pose a risk to international shipping in the strait. Military used 5,000-pound bunker busters. They used some bunker busters, buddy, in the operation. Weapons built to overcome hardened, deeply buried target challenges and capable of being deployed from fighter and bomber aircraft. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the world's most critical energy choke points. About 20% of global oil supplies pass through the waterway. Shipping through the Strait of Hormuz has been disrupted since the United States and Israel began military operations against Iran at the end of February, and Tehran retaliated by firing missiles and drones at Israel and U.S. military assets and targets across Gulf nations. U.S. President Donald Trump earlier called on other countries that rely heavily on the Strait to join the United States in patrolling the shipping route. But that would make sense. The thing was, if you remember, all the other stuff that happened in the 70s, the tanker wars in the 80s, with Operation Praying Mantis, all that stuff. Other countries stepped up to protect their own shipping. Lloyd's of London didn't cancel insurance. It seems like people are really, really trying to just throw in the towel and surrender. Like, I don't know. UK is probably going to be changed to United Kirklangamistan or something like that. The UK, United Kirklangamistan or something. Kirk, Allah Akbar Stan. Trump had named China, France, Japan, South Korea, and the UK as nations he hoped would deploy ships, while the U.S. forces kept targeting what remained of Iran's naval capabilities. However, the president said on March 17th that most NATO countries have expressed they are unwilling to join the efforts. Is my fuel going to be affordable again? Soon. Very, very, very soon. Despite the fact that almost every country strongly agreed with what the United States is doing, the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Adachakarian said on March 16th that the Strait of Hormuz is closed to the United States, Israel, and their allies, but open to other countries. United Fuckistan. Yes, that's it. I was trying to keep it still the UK. Archigi told CBS News that Iranian forces have allowed a group of vessels from different countries to pass, but declined to name the countries. A recent analysis by Lloyd's List Intelligence, which has published journals on maritime news since 1734, or Kukistan. Yeah, that's it. United Kukistan. as a demonstration of our capability. Found that Iran's attacks on ships show no clear pattern. Attacks on ships in and around the Strait of Hormuz appear to be random and calibrated towards disruption rather than targeting specific profiles and national affiliation. Lloyd's List said it reviewed the ownership, management, and trading history of each of the 16 vessels that have been hit in the Persian Gulf Strait and the Gulf of Oman since the start of the war. I guess it's a war. Those 16 vessels were hit during the conflict, had 12 different flags. One of them had the U.S. flag, 3 Marshall Islands, and 2 of them Malta. So they're lying. They're lying. They're lying. Wait a minute. Oh, wait. What is going on here? Why is this the wrong one? Hold on, something's wrong here. I lost my spot here. Anyway, so deep penetrators in U.S. strikes Iranian missile sites threaten oil ships in the Strait of Hormuz with bunker busters. So U.S. strikes the missile sites threatening the bunker with bunker busters. What's this say? Oh, what's this? Oh, let's see what this is. Oh, never mind. No, we're not going to. That's some weird thing. I don't know what they're doing, talking about something. The United States issued a new bunker buster deep penetration bomb, used a new bunker buster. So we got new bunker busters. Malta, where's Chusey? Interesting choice of Malta. United Cuckland, yeah. We need to have a discussion on the Rosicrucians. Okay. SP, yeah. So they used a new bunker buster penetrating bomb for the first time, announcing a strike against the Iranian missile sites. Why did they have to use new bunker busters? The old ones didn't work anymore? It was separately confirmed that these were GBU-72s, a modernized guided bomb designed to penetrate through several yards of reinforced concrete before exploding. So several yards, so 12 feet, 16 feet, roses crusts. They use it to take out hardened bunkers and shelters. Exactly how deep the underground the new bomb can be effective has never been made public. Military Aviation Special Interest publication, The Aviationist, states that the attack overnight is the first time this new munition is known to have been used in combat. Make sure to include Tauzi Malek. Hours ago, U.S. forces successfully employed multiple 5,000-pound deep penetrator munitions on hardened Iranian missile sites along Iran's coastline near the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranian anti-ship missile sites in these... Well, we'll have to do this. Real quick. The Iranian anti-ship cruise missiles in these sites pose a risk to international shipping in the Strait. Operation Epic Fury. Huge difference. Iran dealing with Obama. Iran dealing with Trump. Good one. Good one, boss. CENTCOM says the strikes were along Iran's coastline near the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranian missiles stationed in the area pose a risk to international shipping in the Strait. Well, yeah, of course they did. Of course they did. Being able to theoretically shut the Strait of Hormuz on command and without reasonable hope of being challenged, choking an important global route for crude oil, has long been one of Iran's key strategy of leverage. There are several layers the weapons in Iran can bring to bear on the Strait, to close the Strait, and anti-ship missiles are a potent part of the mix. I list to them all with a grain of salt. Interesting stories of nothing else, like Aesop's fables, Grimm's fairy tales, Peter Pan. To fix Congress and the Senate would need some kind of bar to entry. Typically carried on mobile launchers with theoretically add a level of security to Iran's network of being able to deploy and disperse and constantly move the arsenal. Iran's ASHMs are a mix of indigenous and Chinese designs, and in both cases often trace their origin to Cold War era Russian designs. Because the straits are so narrow and well-hidden, launchers can strike at a passing ship with little warning. Taking out the launchers is an essential step for the United States, keeping Hormuz open to international traffic. That's the thing. Get rid of all their missiles. Anywhere they're keeping them, anywhere they're storing them, hit them. Hit them where it hurts. Other parts of Iran's mix of capabilities to deny the straits were its conventional Navy and Air Forces, both already close to completely destroyed. It's a mosquito fleet of suicide boats, both manned and unmanned, and sea mines. The risk of Iran mining the waters has become a major flashpoint between the British and American governments. Given for decades, mine hunting in the Gulf was a key British contribution to global maritime security. Hey, what's up, Asperny? How you doing, man? Great to see you. What's up, Jim? How's your day been? My day's still going, Asper, really? Aspernici? They're dicks. Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're dicks. Yet Britain's final minesweepers left the Gulf after decades of continuous deployment and work just weeks ago, and the left-wing government of Sir Keir Starmer has absolutely refused to send them back, at least until a ceasefire has been agreed to in a reason. Ah, yes, we won't send our minesweepers there until there's a ceasefire. Oh, how has the United Kyrgyzstan fallen? They can penetrate deeper than the GBU-28s. Early 28s could penetrate 150 feet of earth or 15 of steel reinforced concrete, so badder ass than that. That's awesome. These regime idiots don't realize that they just surrendered, they would have golden parachutes to retirement instead of getting the 72 virgins. No. President Trump evidently feels extremely let down by Starmer's insult, given how clearly the refusal contrasts with the UK's position as America's premier ally and partner in minesweeping in particular. Yeah. Yeah, he was knighted by somebody. Who knows? I wouldn't mind giving him a couple nights off. Yeah, if you know what I'm saying. If you know what I'm saying. We got this story. Trump waives the Jones Act to address soaring gas prices from the Iran war. What's it say? It's not about what's written, but what the reader understands and takes away from it or can be passed down by the parents. See what's been going on? Ever watch Idiocracy, the movie? Yeah, I didn't know when I watched Idiocracy, I didn't know that it was going to actually just be like like somebody time traveled and brought back a documentary to show us. That's what it seems like to me. Also been some minor checking on minesweepers and fleets and bottom line. Sad. Yeah, it is. So what's it say? Trump praises, says Iran could take years to rebuild, and praises Ireland. Let's see. This had to have been for St. Paddy's Day.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. What an honor this is. Yeah, it's 6 times. Can you believe it? Moving along. Well, we like it. You're a healthy guy. Between you and you, you've done very well medically, I can tell you. But there's a lot of truth. It's too long a story to tell, but these two guys are very special. I want to thank our great speaker. He's a great speaker, actually. He's a great speaker. Because when you think of everything that we've passed with a sometimes majority of 1.
Hey, what's up, Rocky?
When we get back to 2, 3, and 4, Mike, we think we have it really made. We lost a couple, and we had a couple of people. They're in heaven now. They're looking, and that didn't help us with the vote, but we're doing all right, and you're getting things done like really nobody. I think there's never been anything like it. So I just want to thank you. You're doing a fantastic job. And I want to thank that beautiful, you're not allowed to say that about women anymore, but I say it anyway. Usually it's the end of your career. You're not allowed to use the word beauty in any form to introduce a woman, but she happens to be beautiful. Kelly, thank you very much. All Irish. I'm in deep trouble. I'm in deep trouble. There'll be headlines when I get out of this room, but I'll stick with it. But, and then your family is so incredible, too. So thank you very much. And to every friend of Ireland in this room today, I just want to wish you a very happy St. Patrick's Day, special day. It's a very great day. And to Taoiseach, you are a man that I've gotten to know, and you mean business. And he can tell a story like nobody can tell a story. And then he said, how did you speak for almost 2 hours? A couple of weeks ago at a call, I'd called State of the Union. I said, you could do it very easily. I guarantee you that. He could do it. But we've had a really great relationship. And Mary, thank you very much. Terrific. Thank you very much to be with you both. Hope you enjoy your stay.
President Trump issued an order Wednesday briefly lifting a 106-year-old law in his latest attempt to tamp down rising fuel prices caused by Iran's closure of the Strait of Hormuz. I believe this law pertains to transporting refined fuel. That refined fuel can't be, or maybe even unrefined crude oil. I don't know. Can't be docked in ports unless it's on a U.S. flag ship. I think that's what it is. That's my president. He's American to the core. The Jones Act bars any foreign ships from carrying cargo, including oil, between American ports. Okay, so foreign ships can't transport stuff from one American port to another port. Okay. President Trump's decision to issue a 60-day Jones Act waiver is another step to mitigate the short-term disruptions of the oil markets, and continues to meet the objectives of Operation Epic Fury. This action will allow vital resources like oil, natural gas, fertilizer, and coal to flow freely to U.S. ports for 60 days, and the administration remains committed to continuing to strengthen our critical supply chains. Trump's action, first reported by Bloomberg News, is the latest attempt by the administration to mitigate soaring fuel prices. Bella has the correct name. Oh, thank you, Rockfort. Mr. Rocky McCobb. Over there, Mr. Rocky Coco Cobb. There we go. There you go. I set her up now. She's better. Do this maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I like it bigger. We'll make her bigger. We like her bigger. Bigger. I said bigger with a B. On March 11th, the president ordered the release of 172 million barrels of oil from the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve, roughly 9-day domestic supply, as other nations released a further 238 million barrels. Iran's closure of the crucial waterways since the U.S.-Israeli war began. Well, it's not the U.S.-Israeli war. It's the U.S.-Israeli-Iranian war. But calling it like, sounds like, yes. Yeah, bigger with the hard R. That's right. And it all but stopped transit of oil as well as natural gas and helium, which is important for semiconductor manufacturing. About a fifth of global oil shipments flow through the Strait. Brent crude prices neared 110 barrels moments after Trump's announcements on Wednesday morning, up from 69 1 month ago. Oh yeah, but one day $200 a barrel in 2022, something like that. I think oil was up over 200. The average price of gasoline is $3.84, up from $2.92 a month ago. Energy Secretary Chris Wright said last week that U.S. military escorts for oil tankers through the crucial state can't happen now, but are quite likely to be in place by April. The U.S. military dropped 5,000-pound bunker busters on underground Iranian missile sites near the strait on Tuesday in an attempt to wrest control of the passage. The Pentagon has ordered the deployment of a Marine Corps Expeditionary Group believed to consist of at least 2,500 service members, which is expected to arrive around the end of the month. Okay, so there's that. Same thing here. Trump waives Jones Act for 60 days as an effort to ease energy prices. And then here's another thing that was interesting, too. It says, U.S. eases Venezuelan oil sanctions as Trump seeks to boost world oil supply. Let's just say, si vis pecum parabellum. The word Republican needs some Polish. Polish, I know. Let's see. Oh, we got 15 minutes left on the goal. Just Latin, not Spanish. I know. Why can't they just build pipelines? Well, there are pipelines flowing to Karg Island from Iran. That's where they load all the ships from Iran is on Karg Island. That's why it'd be nice to take it. So U.S. companies will be allowed to do business with Venezuela's state-owned oil and gas company after the Treasury Department eased the sanctions with some limitations on Wednesday as the Trump administration looks for ways to boost global oil supplies during the Iran war. Yes, if you want peace, prepare for war. The Treasury issued a broad authorization allowing Petróleos de Venezuela, SA or PDVSA, to directly sell Venezuelan oil to U.S. companies on a global market. A massive shift after Washington for years had largely blocked dealings with Venezuela's government and its oil sector. Separately, the White House said President Donald Trump would waive for 60 days the Jones Act requirements for goods to be shipped between U.S. ports to be moved on U.S. flagged ships. The 1920s law, designed to protect the American shipbuilding sector, is often blamed for making gas more expensive. Yes, we don't need luck, we have a military. Not building pipelines around this Gulf has given Iran too much power. I used to grab a Polish and a hot dog and an Italian beef. Oh, God, I would like all three of those right now. Luck is a prepared circumstance. The move highlights the increased pressure that Republican administration is under to ease soaring oil prices as the United States, along with Israel, wages war on Iran. Global oil prices have since spiked as Iran halted traffic through the narrow Strait of Hormuz, through which 1/5 of the world's oil typically passes. Drivers in the United States are paying the highest pump prices in about 2.5 years. See, that's the thing I want to say. Like, the prices, they're saying the highest in 2.5 years because they were way higher 2.5 years ago. The national average a gallon topped $3.84 on Wednesday, according to the AAA, compared to $2.98 before the war began. Even before that, voters were worried about higher living costs, and fuel prices are now adding to the concerns from Republicans heading into the election season, with control of Congress at stake in November. Gas prices are up, and we know they're up. And we know that people are hurting because of it, and we're doing everything we can to ensure they stay lower, J.D. Vance said in an event in Auburn Hills, Michigan. This is a temporary blip. Easing sanctions could spur U.S. investment in Venezuela. The Treasury license is designed to incentivize investment in Venezuela's energy sector and is intended to benefit both the U.S. and Venezuela while increasing the global oil supply. A Treasury official told the Associated Press the official was not authorized to discuss the matter publicly and spoke on a condition of anonymity. So it's another people with anonymous sources. Since the ouster and arrest of Nicolas Maduro as Venezuela's president during the U.S. military operation in January, that Trump said the U.S. would effectively run Venezuela and sell its oil. The U.S. license provides license. You got a license for that oil? You got a license for that oil? It doesn't lift the penalties altogether. The license allows companies that existed before January 29th, 2025 to buy Venezuelan oil and engage in transactions that would normally be banned under American sanctions. But in the short term, there's not likely to be much impact on gas prices, said Geoff Ramsey, an expert on Latin America and the Atlantic Council think tank. So the Atlantic Council. We're talking about 12 to 18 months before we see dramatic changes in Venezuelan output. Easing sanctions and waiving Jones Act normally would have significant impacts, said Claudio Galaberti at the Rystad's Energy, but we're at the most abnormal market I can remember. So it's the most abnormal market you can remember. He said he expects hostilities between the U.S. and Israel and Iran to last at least 2 to 3 more weeks, and said prices are likely to be high and volatile until the oil and gas traffic resumes to the Strait of Hormuz. As long as the strait remains shut, the way is shut. Those who are dead comes before me. What's that line from Lord of the Rings? Right? The way is shut. We're going to have a crisis. Closer to home, Trump is waiving shipping restrictions. Gas prices in some parts of the country, such as the Mid-Atlantic region, may see some relief from Trump's waiver of the Jones Act, which allows larger ships to move between U.S. ports. Places like Texas and Chicago are unlikely to feel any change in the price of gas because diesel because the Jones Act waiver. Christian DeMorti says. He said some American shippers may now face more competition from the relaxing of the shipping rules, which could mean higher costs for them. Yes, because in 16 days we ran out of our supply. Higher prices make sense. Not. Yes. The House always wins. Anyone see the mic around here? I think I just dropped one. Okay. Soldier Province, I would prefer to do a killing than get into combat. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said the Jones Act waiver would help mitigate short-term disruptions in the oil market. We'll see. Last week, Trump announced that he would tap the Strategic Petroleum Reserve part of a wider agreement with many of the world's wealthiest countries to draw down oil from emergency stockpiles. Yep. The administration also eased sanctions. Wouldn't it have made a lot low energy? Stop drinking. I'm drinking something because my mouth is dry. Would have made more sense we could have filled the petroleum reserve when oil was at like 25, like $30 a barrel. And Biden wouldn't let him do it. Oh, not you? Okay, not me. The way it's shut, it was made by the cats, and the cats keep it. It was made by the dead, and the dead keep it. That's right. The way is shut, it was made by the dead, and the dead keep it. Logistics and supply. Yes, Army all works on logistics and supply. We're talking about pennies, Golan said. All told, the administration's market tweaks will create some buffers. So the Corleone family has a lot of buffers. And the big risk for consumers is if the straits remain closed beyond that point, then the shortfall will increase significantly. Critics are worried about the impact of easing Venezuelan sanctions. Oh, of course they are. Of course they're worried about it. The Treasury license is expected to give a massive boost to Venezuela's oil-dependent economy and encourage companies that have been apprehensive to invest. There are some limits. Payments cannot go directly to sanctioned Venezuelan entities such as PDVSA, but must be sent instead to a special U.S.-controlled account. In other words, the U.S. will allow the oil trade, but will control the cash flow. The way is cut, the cord is cut, the orb grows dim. Additionally, deals involving Russia, Iran, North Korea, Cuba, and some Chinese entities will not be allowed. Transactions involving Venezuelan debt or bonds will not be allowed. The new license does not allow payments in gold or cryptocurrency, including the petro, which was a crypto token issued by the Venezuelan government in 2018. So this is them reestablishing the petrodollar. You must use the petrodollar. Venezuela sits atop the world's largest oil reserves and used them to power what was once Latin America's strongest economy. But corruption, mismanagement, well, let's just stop right there. Communism, Marxism, communism, and corruption. Communism destroyed the country. Oh, they're blaming it on U.S. sanctions. When Maduro's mentor, Chavez, took power, they went from 3.5 million barrels per day to less than 400,000 barrels per day in 2020. Wow. So they're pumping like 1/10 of their production from 99. America isn't a government, it's people. Like Soylent Green. Like Soylent Green. Like Soylent Green. Please remember to please hit the like button, people. People. Please remember to hit it like a button. Yes. Bum, 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 bum. Sanctions because of the communism. Yeah, the sanctions were because of the communism. Had nothing to do with other stuff because they try to confiscate stuff. So a year earlier, the Treasury Department under the first Trump administration locked Venezuela out of the world oil markets when it sanctioned them as part of policy punishing Maduro's government for corruption. Wait a minute. A year earlier, under the first Trump administration, what the fuck is going on? Oh, so they okay, so 2020, that's what we're talking about, a year earlier in 2020. All right. They forced the government to sell its remaining oil output at a discount, about 40% below market prices to buyers such as China. Venezuela even started accepting payments in Russian rubles, bartered good in cryptocurrency. Critics of the acting Venezuelan government argue that the move rewards Maduro loyalists while repression, corruption, and human rights abuses continue. Many public sector workers survive on roughly $160 per month, while the average private sector employer earned about $237 last year. Oh my God. So $237 a year compared for private sector employees, but the people who work for the government are making $160 per month. So you're talking about almost 10 times the amount of money if you work for the government than if you don't work for the government. That seems like a waste of money. A lot of money. A lot of money. All right. This is a very interesting story, which I'm not sure about. I read the headlines, I saw the story, and I thought it was interesting enough to talk about. So this is something. It says the Alabama Supreme Court rules police can demand ID following pastor's arrest. So this is the pastor that was watering flowers or something, it looks like. And so we're gonna read the story. We're gonna talk about it. All right. Seriously? Commercial? Seriously?
Say. And we have some breaking news. The Alabama Supreme Court has ruled that police can demand to see identification during a stop if they are dissatisfied with a person's verbal answer. Now, this comes after the Supreme Court heard the case involving a pastor in Childersburg, Michael Jennings, who was arrested while watering his neighbor's flowers back in 2022, if you recall that case. Now, the justices issued the 6-3 decision last week after being asked to clarify state law.
Wow. Okay. So Montgomery, Alabama, ruling the case of a black pastor who was arrested while watering his neighbor's flowers. The Alabama Supreme Court said police can demand to see identification during a stop if they are dissatisfied with a person's verbal answers. Justices issued a 6-3 decision last week after a federal judge presiding over a lawsuit about Michael Jennings' 2022 arrest asked the court to clarify whether officers can demand to see a person's identification under state's stop and identify law. Won't stand in SCOTUS. No, this is a state law, and state law, the state Supreme Court says, yes, this is legal. So SCOTUS is not really going to, what are they going to tell the states what their state law says? It's the state constitution about police stops. I mean, they're just asking people to provide identification. The police can stop you. I mean, think about this. So you're going to say if the police stop somebody and they ask them for identification, and you go, no, you can't get my ID. So then what, you go, oh, fuck, I guess we just go away. It would work great when anytime the police pull somebody over, you just say, no, I ain't giving you my ID. Don't have to. I wonder how many recall the case. I remember hearing about this. I do. But I don't know enough about it to really talk about the case. Hey, Sober VTech, what's up? Great to see you. So the minister was arrested when he declined to show the Childersburg police identification. It's not a Fourth Amendment violation. Is it not a Fourth Amendment violation? I don't think so. Because they're stopping you for questioning. They're asking you to provide identification to prove who you are. I don't know. I mean, I think it's the current makeup of the Supreme Court is going to say that it's not a violation. That's what I think of the Constitution to demand, people identify yourself. And what are they supposed to do? You just give if you ask for their name and the guy refuses to give you a name, you got to ask for ID, stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. So Justice Will Sellers wrote that the state law does not exclude from its purview a request for physical identification when a suspect provides an incomplete or unsatisfactory response to an officer's demand to provide his or her name and address, an explanation of his or her action. If I remember, a neighbor called a suspicious person in the area. Yeah, he says it's a neighbor's house that he was watering the lawn, but clearly one of the neighbors of the guy's house saw him and said, like, no, I don't recognize this guy. And he's over there screwing around at this guy's house, messing with their hose and watering and stuff like that. So doesn't say how far away he was from the neighbor's house. Like maybe he didn't actually live right next door or something. Like, I don't know. Like to me, the whole thing seems like, stop and frisk in New York was deemed unconstitutional. Authorities must articulate what they think you are committing a crime. Well, this is not stopping and frisking. You've been lurking since the Good Logic Rain was driving home. Well, thanks for being here. This is not like stopping and frisking. This is stopping and talking and asking them to provide ID. So I don't know. They passed the law. So I don't know, man. In May, 22 officers questioned Jennings in his neighbor's yard. Another neighbor had called 911 because she saw an unfamiliar car and a young black male around the house. Officers who responded found Jennings watering flowers and asked what he was doing. Jennings identified himself as Pastor Jennings and told officers he lived across the street and was caring for his neighbor's yard while they were vacationing. Officers asked to see his identification and Jennings refused, saying he hadn't done anything wrong. The woman who called 911 also later identified Jennings as another neighbor. Jennings was charged with obstructing a government operation, whose charges was later dismissed. Jennings sued the city and the officers for false arrest. A federal judge dismissed the lawsuit, but the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals reversed the decision. U.S. District Judge R. David Proctor then asked the state Supreme Court to determine whether the state law prohibits an officer from demanding identification if the person gives an incomplete or unsatisfactory response to questions. Matthew Cavadon, director of the Cato Institute's Project on Criminal Justice, said the decision is a significant expansion of the government power over people. Obstruction charge is always an intimidation tactic. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. What is the meaning of secure in the right of private papers if they can demand your papers? Your identification is not private. It's issued by the state. It's not private papers. Your name and ID is not private. It's not. It's not private. Your name is not private. Remember prohibition? Just asking. Yeah, I just disagree, Charles. I think that's not like coming to your house, your private papers in your house, but your identification is issued by the government. It's not private papers. It's just your name. Your name's not private. I'm just saying. I don't think so anyway. The Cato Institute and the ACLU had written an amicus brief in the case arguing the statute does not authorize any demands for physical identification. Kevadon said the case centers on what happens if a person gives an answer the officer doesn't find satisfactory. My identity and the right to remain unidentified is a core fourth principle. Okay. The significance now for Alabamians is that if an officer is not satisfied with whatever answers you give, I sure hope you've got your driver's license or passport on you. Nothing is private, folks. Yeah. I guess that's it. I guess that's it for the story. That's it for that story. And this just says, from the AP, says, black pastor's arrest, Alabama Supreme Court rules police can demand to see identification. You disagree? Okay. Well, that's fine. We can disagree. I'm just saying, I don't know, like, yeah, I don't, I mean, it's been like laws all over that the police stop you and ask, they can ask you your name. And if you refuse to give your name, they can ask for ID. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think, I mean, you can refuse to answer any questions. You can say, I have a right to remain silent. I'm not going to say anything. You could do that, I think. That's if you're operating a vehicle. No, I mean, people have been stopped on the street all the time. They ask you, I don't know. I mean, I just don't think the law currently as it's known, like what a Terry stop is or these other things. I don't think it says that you can, that's all. I mean, personally, I don't think the cops should be able to stop you at all. I don't think you should be cops. How's that? I think we should all handle it ourselves. Frisk is just the wrong word. A terminal designed by the administrators to stop and check. Yeah. I mean, the thing about the stop and frisk things that they were doing, they took a lot of guns off the streets, which technically, I don't know how I feel about that because, like, maybe those people needed guns to protect themselves or others. I don't know. The justice issued a 6-3 decision last week after a federal judge presiding over a lawsuit asked the court to clarify whether officers can demand to see a person's ID under the state's law. So they wrote, the law does not exclude from its purview a request for physical identification when the subject provides incomplete or false or unsatisfactory response. So I don't know. Like, there's a bunch of states that have a law that says you got to provide ID when asked. I don't know. I mean, if it's unconstitutional, if the Supreme Court says it, I'm fine with it. If they say it's not, I don't know. I mean, defund the police, tell me your address, and when someone gets there, who will you call? I was being facetious. I was saying everyone should handle it, on the street. Handle it yourself. Frontier justice. You know what I'm talking about? I don't want to defund the police. I was just making a, facetious joke, I guess. We used to be giants, yes. So Jennings was charged with obstructing a government operation. See, I don't know about this one. Obstructing a government operation. Yeah, that's what they always try to get you with. Is like, you interfered with our duties. We used to have lynching. Should we go back to that? Not when asked, Jim. I defy you to list of states which support that. I think we didn't always have cops. People just take it for granted now. I'm not joking. I mean, we used to have a much more high trust society. We used to just have like sheriffs and stuff, and there was a problem. You went to the sheriff or the town marshal. We didn't have these whole roving bands of cops all the time to try to all cops do is like suppress crime, and then they come to clean up after the fact. That's it. You know, I mean, the bottom line is you need a bunch of cops with the cities and the amount of populations because they have to respond to a bunch of crimes. You have to have enough that they can respond to the crime, so people aren't waiting around 2-3 hours for someone to show up. You know. Okay, all I'm going to say, Tony, is that the system we currently have, where they're letting people, should I show you examples of what I'm talking about, where they're letting people out of jail to go do things like repeatedly, people just keep getting released. Wouldn't it be better if somebody just handled it and it was, one handled it? That's all I'm saying. So the Cato Institute says it's a significant expansion of government power. Significance now for Alabama says officers not satisfied. So we got utopia. We ain't, unfortunately. Yeah, well, that is. You know what? That's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. We'll go like this. We'll do this. All right. We'll come over here. We'll do this for the end of the evening here. All right. So here's nearly 5 minutes of the Versailles Brigade alumni describing Cuba as a free and liberated land, praising the one-party system and more democratic than the United States, and they're openly calling for America's return home, the lessons for revolutionary freedom. So these are the people that go to Cuba and then come back trying, the stuff with the whole Antifa terrorist groups. We got that, and we got Joe Kent. We got this story. Joe Kent is currently under FBI investigation for leaking classified information.
I'm going to go. Sources are saying that Joe Kent, the former director of the United States National Counterterror Center, this is from Semaphore, he just resigned. He's now under FBI investigation for allegedly leaking classified information. And the investigation predates his departure.
Predates his departure. What do you know?
Congressman, your reaction to that tonight. Wow.
Well, there's a lot there, and I think that we need to let this investigation play out, but we shouldn't tolerate any leakers in the administration, particularly regarding classified national security interests and information. So we'll let this play out and see where it goes, but if he was leaking, he ought to be held accountable just like anybody else would be.
Well, 5 minutes ago, he seemed to think that Iran was a big threat, and then suddenly that threat went away. It was very odd. Congressman, thank you very much. Great. I'm going to go.
Wow, that's crazy, right? So Joe says for $2, I'm listening mode until sleep sets in. God bless. Well, thank you, Joe, for the $2. With that means we are now $98 away from a second additional hour of the show. I know the goal already expired, but if it just some crazy thing happened and we hit the goal, I would add another hour. That's how I do. I always honor my commitments. Thank you so much. Help me out. Angry. So this is crazy, this stuff. All right, we got this guy supposedly leaking information. All right. Okay, we got that. And we got this. We had this happen today. Tim Burchett calls out the Democrats' walkout of there was an Epstein files briefing between Pam Bondi and Blanche, and it was all staged. All right, so we're going to listen to his comments real quick. We got another comments we're going to talk about. And then
staged. We knew that was going to happen. I mean, that's all staged. We knew that was going to happen. They started off at the beginning. They didn't want to ask questions. I mean, why not? And they said, we're going to wait till whenever. Why not ask them then and then ask them again? And then if she said something that was totally different, you'd have them. I mean, that's all staged.
Yeah. And then like absent-minded said here, that Kent was not involved in his job role if he could just skip out like that. Yeah, he wasn't really worried about. It's rumored he leaked to Tucker. Well, yeah, he immediately left and went and did interviews with Tucker and Candace Owens. So I believe a security clearance was pulled 3 weeks before this. Yeah, that's what they're saying, and they knew it, and they just kept him around because they didn't want to fire him right away because they wanted to, get the information, get for sure. These are not serious people. Yeah. Pam Blondie and Ted Blanche came before the Oversight Committee for a closed briefing to answer any and all questions. Democrats just stormed out after refusing to ask any questions because the cameras were off. So the Demon Rats just wanted to get stuff. So here, Pam Bondi just said Democrats screamed in the briefing room because C-SPAN cameras weren't there.
Identified to us, we fixed them immediately.
And let me be clear on this case. This case has spanned multiple administrations. It started under Bush. It went to Obama. It went to Biden. We were the only, no documents were released, only under the Trump administration. And we released 3 million documents, had 500 attorneys working on that, complying with the law the best we could, and protecting victims in doing it.
Madam Attorney General, this
Go ahead.
has been quite an odyssey for you. This began with an encounter you had with some activists in the Roosevelt Room where you handed out some binders. Then there was a discussion, a statement that the FBI and DOJ put out that this investigation was over. Flash ahead to a couple of weeks ago, you had a very unusual appearance before the House Judiciary Committee. Do you have any regrets? Is there anything you might have done differently? And do you think that your comportment and the department's comportment in this have exacerbated the public's lack of trust in this process?
Well, let me repeat what I just said. This has spanned 4 administrations. Bush, Obama, well, Trump won, 45, where Jeffrey Epstein was prosecuted, and then Joe Biden's administration, where 0 documents were provided. We have provided 3 million documents. 3 million documents, the height of the Eiffel Tower, used 500 attorneys working around the clock, have identified, either they self-identified or through their attorneys, 1,200 victims who we did our very, very best to protect their identities. And so we're proud of the work that we've done on this.
Like
Go ahead. Next question.
Democrats on the committee walked out. They called it a, quote, fake hearing and said you were just trying to get around appearing for a deposition. Can you respond to those?
Sure. We were there to answer questions. It's the evening. We came at their convenience. We gave them as much time as they wanted. And one congresswoman screamed C-SPAN wasn't in there, so she didn't want to ask questions. Yet all day long they've been on social media saying they had all these questions. We sat there saying, anything you want to ask us anything you want to ask us. And they screamed C-SPAN wasn't there, one of them, and then they stormed out of the meeting. So thank you all. Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you.
Victims. Some victims have said they aren't satisfied with responses they've received.
Some victims said they aren't satisfied. I want the victims to start naming names. That's what I want. I want the victims to start naming names. Let's get the victims themselves to say who hurt them. Give us the names and we can do something about it. We can go after them. We can get these people. Why are we relying on other people to release the names? Say who hurt you. Say who did it. That's what we want. That's what we want. We want to know who hurt you. Tell us who hurt you. It's not that difficult. Okie dokie. Okay. Well, yo. Alrighty. Let's get back to this. All right. So there's some other stuff too I wanted to do because I know I got it here. And so, dear Islamists, try, we dare you. All right. So, terrifying. Islamic scholars in the U.S. reveal their plan. There's not enough Muslims in America right now to demand full Sharia law. And replace the secular system. We need to gain political power and implement little by little. This is what they want to do. This is the thing. This is the stuff they do. This is it. This is what they want.
America, okay, if we don't want them to implement secularism, so what do we want them to implement? They say
Thanks,
that
Joe.
America now, okay, there is not enough Muslims for them and to implement Islam. But now it is our challenge as du'at, as intellectuals, as academic, to present solutions based on Islamic values, but in the second level degree, not to tell them replace secularism with Islam. It won't work. Yeah, presenting Islam as a civilizational alternative, this needs from us a different way of addressing this generation, addressing, in fact, the whole world, trying to get into key positions where you are influencing the decisions, yani decision making. If we are, whatever we do, and we are not influentials, we cannot influence the how politics is running. We are not influence the decision-making processes.
We know that if we were to do this from 0 to 100, the people are going to say, we're not going to have this type. Look Afghanistan, look other places. And people understand they're not going to go from 0 to 100 overnight. Suppose a Muslim party, an Islamic party, comes in and they start changing. You know what? We want to make sure there's no alcohol being sold. So can we, for the time being, because here's the point, any type of stuff we do, it's not astaghfirullah to substitute the Sharia. No, it's a program to eventually apply the Sharia, right?
It's a program to apply the Sharia. Okay, I think you misunderstood, Tony, because you say, as a military man, I have deep respect for law enforcement. Apparently, Jim and Chad are more on the fence or over it. No. I have respect for law enforcement. They do a great job. I think they've been abused quite a bit. There are some bad cops. Everyone always takes the one or two bad cops and use the example. So they're like, oh, don't do something. I always say, fine, get rid of them. Watch what happens. If there's no cops, then there's going to be basically people out there doing lynchings, people, vigilante justice and stuff like that. And then it's the mob basically controlling things. Not the mob as in the mafia, but the mob as in whatever the mob says. And you'll have a bunch of people that aren't really guilty of crimes get accused of it. Someone just says, look at the story of Emmett Till, right? Wasn't that supposedly that some woman claimed something happened? The mob went and lynched a kid over whistling or something like that. I'm just saying that's where this all ends up, the way the left is pushing. And so I just say, fine, watch what happens. Do it. Watch where it goes. Because then the people that are getting, just released, these prisons, just keep going, all this stuff, those people are only going to commit crime once. There's going to be a lot of innocent people obviously get hurt, which I don't want to happen. But it'll be over real quick. And people will be like, no, we need the cops back. We aren't the same type of soldiers from World War II. We have learned, evolved, and just your gear. We all have rights. Some are limited, like speaking bad opponents. Anyway, you have to put the phone down. Yeah. Just like our gear. Yeah. I love cops and lawyers. Ooh, I don't know about lawyers. What's that saying? Who was it said? Just what do you call 50,000 lawyers at the bottom of the sea? This is how it works. Watch. When a minority, I am a Muslim, please don't hate me, pretend secular, play victim card, build mosque, want more rights. And then when in a majority, massacre those who insult Islam. Yeah, see, that's what they want to do, man. That's what they want to do here. So be careful. All right. Democrats were screaming about this stuff, and your language. Oh, so check this out. Your language isn't appropriate. It's in your library. You can't make this up. Listen to this guy about this book that was in the library that he's complaining about.
Hello, Navarro. Suck any good lately. What's wrong, Navarro? I think you like a big in your mouth. Ha ha ha. Page 23. The other boy, page 23. Here it is. What's the educational benefit of talking about the What's the educational benefit of talking about that? Is that going to help someone on the SAT score? Hear me kind. Get a shot at that. She can care less. That's a sign. She needs to put down her sign.
So they said, this is all this bullshit. They said no signs from the public. These people opposed to it. But then you got this woman up there holding up a sign. And we're like, wait, you said no signs. She can hold up a sign. So this is the same thing. This is just like what's happening in Virginia, where they're trying to pass gun laws to confiscate everybody's guns and do all this stuff. But they're excluding anybody that's a politician. So the politicians are above the law. So they're going to make laws to apply to everybody else except for them. 500 attorneys? What the fuck? Is it 500 attorneys or 50,000? I don't know.
Putting me out. For what? For asking you to abide by the rules. A board member held up a sign, but the audience couldn't hold up signs. This is tyranny, and we're dealing with a corrupt government system.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Clark County School District, fifth largest school district in the country, Las Vegas. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. All poor people would vote to take away money from the rich. Where does society go? Yeah, well, that's where it goes. Communism. You know, if you let stupid people vote, that's where we're at. Okay, so Marco Rubio talking about that. Marco Rubio massive 15,000 thing. We talked about that. Justice Roberts complaining about SCOTUS. Yeah. Afroman's lemon cake, pound cake music video trial is bizarre. That's nuts. Yeah. Boasberg is part of the anti-Trump resistance. Yeah. See Kleinsmith. Yeah. Boasberg stated Kleinsmith had taken a shortcut and shown poor judgment, but he had not set out to betray the court or orchestrate a grand conspiracy. Yeah, Kleinsmith, who doctored the email to say that Carter Page was not a source for the CIA, as opposed to a source. Yeah, so that happened. And they want to serialize all ammunition. That's right. They want to pass a bill. Illinois Democrats are pushing to serialize all ammunition. They want every bullet to have a separate serial number. You realize how retarded that sounds. All handgun manufacturers import into state for sale or personal use kept for sale. This seems like it's a direct violation of the Commerce Clause, because this would, talking about what's imported in the state, you're passing all this stuff. I don't think they can do it. And it says Jerome Powell is very concerned and alarmed that foreign-born labor is getting replaced by native-born instead of vice versa. Oh, what do you know?
The thing that I think good number of people on the committee are concerned about is just the very, very low level of job creation. If you adjust what has been the trend job creation over the past, let's say, 6 months, if you adjust that for what we think, our staff thinks, is the overstatement due to overcounting, effectively there's zero net job creation in the private sector. The thing that I think...
Oh, yes, because they're, all the stuff that's happening. So the Chinese were meddling in the election against Trump in 2020, and the CIA decided to withhold that information because they deemed it would be beneficial to Trump's re-election campaign. Yeah, in summary, the summer 2020 CIA stated in a meeting recorded on the record that it was their policy not to assess China was interfering against Trump because his re-election campaign would use it. CIA leadership then tried to alter the official meeting minutes and began a retaliation campaign against me when I reported it. Still, once the election was over and no one cared, so thankfully John Solomon for following up on this report. The IC is the eyes and ears of the president. How can any president trust them when the people who did this still run things and there has been no reform? U.S. intel hid Chinese 2020 election meddling from Trump. Of course they did, because the big guy was getting money from the Ching Chongs. Yeah, we got this. You know, DOJ watchdogs filed a lawsuit against the DOJ because they're protecting Norm Eisen. Yeah, so Prickster just explained at Project 2029 the Democrats plan to criminally prosecute Trump officials through a bankrupt and stuff. See, so this is what Prickster's plan is. Right?
What does a Project 2029 agenda look like for you?
I don't think you can speak of it in shorthand, but I'll just say a couple of things that I think are absolutely necessary. One is we've got to restore the rule of law, and that means holding people accountable who've broken the law. I'm talking about in this administration. When we get a new one, the people in this administration who
the only people breaking the law are you, fat slob Prickster. It's you, fat slob Prickster, and these other demon rats who are basically violating the law by trying to stop federal enforcement of law. Enforcing the law is not breaking the law, it's fucking following the law. I see you want only people who have guns to be criminals in the military and who call for help. Should they also defund the military asking for friends? That's not what I think. That's what the Democrats want.
broken the law. And federal agents who've broken the law need to be held accountable.
And that means criminally prosecuted.
Criminally prosecuted, civilly prosecuted, whatever it is that we can do, right? It may be that you can't criminally prosecute somebody, but that you can go after them civilly.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what they want. So it says the Strait of Hormuz was supposed to end Trump's presidency. Iran blocked it. Oil spiked. Gas prices surged. The plan was simple: crush the American worker with inflation. But the trap was inverted. The oil market is fractured into two tiers: $100 in America, $150 in Asia. China, India, Japan, South Korea, the nations that refuse to send warships to Trump ass are now paying 50% more per barrel. Schools are closing, workers sent home. Trump told them to help open the strait. Every single one refused. NATO said it wasn't their war. China negotiated selective passage from a destroyed regime. Japan declined. Australia declined. Now the strait is doing to them what it was designed to do to Trump. So that's what's happening. Look at this. Thurston County, Washington becomes the first in the nation to pass an ordinance forcing people to obtain a certain home energy score before they're allowed to sell their home. Yeah, the pricksters are embedded Illinois scum. Yeah, they hid China but allowed false Russia. Yes, they did. So the climate cultists want you to actually, you have to get some, they won't let you sell your house unless you do what they want.
Thurston County just signed off on an ordinance requiring people to obtain a home energy score before listing their property for sale. Thanks for joining us at 11. I'm Steve Solis. The policy aims to encourage people in unincorporated Thurston County to invest in improvements that lower utility bills and reduce carbon emissions. KOMO's Jackie Kent breaks down what homeowners and buyers can expect.
And this will not go into effect until a year from today. We spoke with people who are still mixed.
This is a highly unconstitutional thing. You can't sell your property until you do what we say. Like, what? No, you can sell your property. Someone wants to buy it, they buy it. This is blatant fucking communism.
About it, including realtors concerned about the housing market.
All in favor, say aye.
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 The Thurston County Council voted that before anyone can list their home for sale, they'll have to get a professional review of their insulation, heating and cooling systems, water heating systems, and more.
Would require a home energy score be completed and disclosed when a home is listed for sale, making energy efficiency and energy costs transparent to residents in the real estate market.
It's the first county nationwide to mandate a so-called home energy score. It's one strategy staff say will lead to reduced energy use and greenhouse gas emissions. Commissioner Wayne Fournier was the only one to abstain from the vote, noting concerns about potential legal and operational challenges.
Being the first is cool, but being the first is dangerous. If there wasn't a bunch of public outcry, I might be more prone to roll the dice.
At a busy county council meeting, proponents noted the HES lets home buyers compare the energy costs of multiple listings. Meanwhile, home sellers can ensure their listing reflects their energy investments.
The assessments themselves would be conducted by private sector professionals, not anyone working for the county or in the county assessor's office.
Opponent.
Oh, so it's a new make work job where they just get these people who are, climate zealot to come in and go through your house and tell you, so it's just more people that get scammed and paid off and stuff. Just more make work bullshit jobs that don't actually do anything. Wow.
Are frustrated the assessment can cost up to $350, though low-income households are exempt.
I do not think it's the role of government to intercede and mandate these kinds of inspections.
Realtor Don Baker adds there aren't enough energy assessors to do this work. In fact, the Department of Energy website shows the closest ones are near Portland.
With no way to actually gain a score or the assessment, then that means we can't list any homes.
She spoke out against the move at County Council.
Yeah, that's what they're doing there. So, check this out. So you got this woman is responsible for a $114 million animal bridge boondoggle has responded to our investigation with a rambling Facebook post blaming the weather and unprecedented biodiversity collapse. This is what happens when you put crazy in charge. Yeah, this is the woman that they put in charge of building a bridge who's never done any fucking construction in her life, has no construction background or nothing. But look at her with the stuffed animal and all this stuff. It's just, I'm great to see all the news on covering the wildlife crossing. You might see this article and post today, including, and she's a nutbag. And here's what else. This is what she's been doing, though. I have it. Shit, where's it at? I have it. This is what they're doing in California. All right, hold on. Let's go. This is what they're doing. All right. It's right here. Where's it? Here it is. This is what they're doing. They're spending $114 million on a cougar and butterfly bridge, funneling cash to indigenous activists who perform offerings of native tobacco and human hair to their sacred plant relatives. Gavin Newsom has turned construction into a sorcery, a boondoggle. This is what they're doing. They're spending all this money on it, and they can't build a fucking bridge.
We don't walk into a store and just take everything we want and walk out. We have to pay for it, and it just so happens to be that we pay for it in the form of money. So we pay for something that has sentiment or has meaning to us, and so for us it's a form of offering. For my particular offering, it tends to be like native tobacco, possibly mixed in with a little bit of sagebrush, sometimes white sage, sometimes pieces of my hair from when I do cut off my ends during our full moons might be mixed in there. So still, it's a form of me being returned back to Mother Earth. So then every time we do go out, we give just a pinch of offering before we take anything. And that's kind of our way of asking our plant relatives and help them to establish their best life.
Our plant relatives. This is what they're doing. You know, this is what they're doing. Endless boondoggles like this one, shocking corruption and gross mismanagement are driving the irrefutable, now unfolding, snowballing, domino effect collapse of the state of California. The nightmare will hurt every single citizen, but nobody in power of the inept, lamestream media is talking about what's happening right in front of their noses. This is now shocking, irrefutable, historical, and scientific proof that the grossly mismanaged state of California has been violently sucked into the decline, death stage of its life cycle. Yeah. It's trapped in snowballing domino effect. The lackluster governor and his complicit inept Sacramento machine have turned a beautiful, wealthy state that was once the iconic symbol of American enterprise and innovation into a toxic, suffocating desert of butt-wrenching potholes and a mountain of unnecessary hyper-regulations that's causing a mass exit of thousands of well-established companies. When the organization gets sucked into the powerful, fatal maelstrom, human behaviors get very ugly and flip dramatically from benevolent to malevolent and can become very twisted, incompetent, stupid, toxic, harmful, violent, destructive, counterproductive, perverted, corrupted, sadistic, and even satanic. The claim that the state of California is collapsing is not a conspiracy theory. It's based on a formal scientific explanation. One of the driving forces is California's the big stuck, fear paralysis. Going back to 2154 BCE, the main precursor of a system collapse is widespread extreme instability. So this is what's going on. This is what they're doing. California, look at this stuff. The breakout should have been here. The breakout could not be sustained. The death decline. See, all this stuff. California. That's what's going on. I know I had something else I wanted to cover. Where's it at? Here's the bridge that they're supposed to be building. It caused them, bro, the state can't be real. Wildlife bridge to nowhere tops over 100 million. It was just supposed to be this little bridge to go over for cougars and butterflies and stuff. Nick Shirley did a great interview on this stuff. Oh, here she is. Here's this crazy lady. This is the crazy lady. All right. This is the crazy lady that's in charge, that Newscomb put in charge of this bridge.
When we started stage 1 and we're waiting to start stage 2, the world changed beneath us, though. This spring, construction costs increased considerably. And although we were holding reserves to finish construction, all those are exhausted at this point because of tariffs, inflation, and so many other factors impacting construction projects, not just ours. So we need your help one more time to get us to the finish line and help us build back those reserves so that we can ensure that we finalize construction by November, so we can all cut that ribbon together. What a moment that will be. And like you, I can't wait to see that first mountain lion cross. The promise to P22 will be fulfilled, and the Santa Monica Mountain wildlife will have a future because of all of you. Please donate today to Save LA Cougars. We're going to complete this together, this dream that we started. Thank you.
It'd be nice if some of the Cougars ate a few of these people. Just saying. So the full story. Just want to remember that, Ron DeSantis, after the hurricane that happened maybe about 4 years ago, the bridge that went to Sanibel Island was destroyed. 3 weeks. They rebuilt the bridge in 3 weeks. Ron DeSantis, those people. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. California just burned money and lighted on fire. They went on LA Cougars. Yeah. Check this out. Another one. High school principal Jeremy Williams, who was placed on leave for celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk, has just been sentenced to 5 years in prison over possessing child porn. Imagine that. Oh, imagine that. Look at him. I could say, I look at that and I go, oh, I believe it. Yeah, I can believe it. I see it. I see it. Like people like that. The terror threat we aren't supposed to discuss. The evidence showed Muslims in the U.S. commit terrorism at a greater disproportionate rate. The data also contradicts claims that whites or right-wing white supremacists pose the primary threat. Terror alert. It's a great story. Law explaining the unsoundness of Judge Bozer's basis for stuff. Yeah, it's all crazy. check this out. So this story. So we got City of Fairfax Board released the following statement after furious parents. Was it bring your stuffed animal to work day? No, this is what they're putting in charge. Make sure the mud toad and skipfish have a home, but 50,000 homeless can sleep in a sewer downtown LA. It's just crazy, isn't it? It's nuts what's going on. It really is. It's nuts. Obviously a Redditor. Yeah, it's nuts. I wish I could maybe understand instead of ranting and avoid, but I've been drinking, so I'll continue to carry that. Well, you go. Yes. Rants on, good, soldier. That's good. Don't worry about it. No wonder the housing market is shit. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. So the public schools handled an illegal immigrant student who is now charged for groping a dozen students at school. I wonder if this is one of the students who's actually not. Look at the Key Bridge replacement, at least 2 years late, and 7.7 billion running to possibly 5 billion. It's nuts. It is. So they allowed this kid to return to school after he groped 10 students. Parents tell that the soon-to-be 19-year-old illegal immigrant is charged with groping their daughters in between their legs in a school hallway would be allowed to return to school. 19 years old, that sounds kind of old to be at a school, right?
Israel Flores Ortez is almost 19 years old and in the 11th grade at Fairfax County High School. About a dozen girls have come forward to report that Ortez put his hands between their legs and grabbed their privates while in the school hallways. Now he's in jail, facing 9 counts of assault. 7 News has also learned Ortez is an illegal immigrant from El Salvador who crossed the southern border in 2024 and was released under federal government policy at that time. After his arrest, ICE issued a detainer for Ortez last week in order to deport him, but tells me the Fairfax County Sheriff is not honoring that detainer.
Oh, of
At a
course,
court
not
hearing
honoring the detainer.
attended by many of the girls' parents Friday morning, Ortez's attorney requested he be let out on bail. The prosecutor from Fairfax County Commonwealth's Attorney Steve Descano's office agreed.
But the judge did not. After reviewing the surveillance video from the school district and in spite of the prosecutor supporting his release, the judge felt that the bail request did not properly address the public safety.
The parents were
So a judge
relieved
actually did
because
their
they
job.
say they'd been told Ortez would be allowed back in school if he were released. But that's just one of the issues that has these moms mad at the school district.
Keep voting Democrat, ladies.
Attempted to sweep it under the rug. They sent out a letter last night saying again
After
that
we demanded it, multiple parents demanded that there be a letter before.
Yep, Soros DA. Yeah.
but it was a completely sanitized letter.
Weeks after the incidents were reported to police, Principal Georgina A. sent an email to parents saying in part, quote, these incidents involved the student touching the student's buttocks while they were transitioning in the hallways.
Yeah, no. I would not be here for butt slapping. I would be upset about that, but this wouldn't be my second day this week here at the courthouse for that. It was a clear violation that he put his hand in between my daughter's legs, and the butt was actually the last thing that he touched.
The parents also told me the principal downplaying what happened has only created more problems.
The girls have experienced harassment and bullying from peers at school, including people that they once thought were their friends. And the letter that they sent out referencing it only as buttocks touching just adds fuel to the rumors that
They should sue the school.
speaking.
Another detail that came to light is that Ortez has been engaging in this behavior all school year, according to the prosecutor, and nothing has been done about it until now. I asked the school district about that. They said they can't comment on this.
Oh, we
case,
can't
and that
comment.
student safety
Except for the
is
letter
their
we
top
sent saying
priority.
that. Yeah.
Reporting in
Yeah.
Fairfax, Nick Minock, 7 News.
Wow. That's nuts, right? That's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. It's very hard to feel any sympathy whatsoever for the demon rats in one of the richest, bluest counties in the U.S. Oh, wait. You didn't vote for this? Yeah. Fire Georgina A. immediately for letting this happen under her nose. Yeah. This is the person right here, the school principal. Yeah, fire her ass immediately. You don't let 19-year-olds fighting aged adult male illegal aliens amongst 14 to 15-year-old high school kids. No, you don't. You don't do it. So we got this stuff. I know I saw one here. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? I was going to get into some other stuff, but sorry you didn't get your next goal. Can you give a cliff notes of the milligram experiments from Yale before you go? I have no idea what you're talking about. But thank you for the 5. Thank you very much. That means we are now $93 away from an extra hour. But I was going to wrap up right now before we hit the 4-hour mark, just so that I didn't have to cancel anything. But asking for people in the chat, portraits of words in that report, transitioning in the hallway. Yeah, it's crazy. Men allowed women to vote, and all we got was a view in WNBA, own trans kids, and illegal aliens, CRT map, LGBTQ. Oh, yeah, it's all this stuff. It really needs to stop. I want to thank everybody who's here. Tomorrow is Thursday. I should be on the show tomorrow with Joe. All right, at around 10ish, hopefully. Where are the fathers you would figure would have a talk with the Islamic youth? Yes, they would. Do you think so? I have a trans employee. She said she just wants to be treated like a real woman, so I cut her pay. There you go. That's great. But anyway, I want to thank everybody who's here, the whole 180 of you. Please remember to hit the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I'm going to send you over to another show talking about some stuff in the news, Pat Dixon, and he likes to sing and do other stuff. So check him out, and I'll see you all tomorrow night. And come on back for Jim to tell you the news.